Civilization Devours. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Mystic Certificate. Chen Mou returned home from school and had dinner, but the impact of his victory over Qi Wencheng continued to ferment. Originally, Chen Mou could be regarded as a celebrity in the school, mainly because of his good theoretical grades, and he always ranked in the top in every exam, but in terms of comprehensive grades, Chen Mou was still very average. This was all because Chen Mou's practical ability was too weak. But now Chen Mou actually defeated the extraordinary Qi Wencheng in one fell swoop, which had to be surprising. Qi Wencheng was also a celebrity in Yanghui High School and was very strong. Although he was defeated now, many people thought that they were not Qi Wencheng's opponent. According to this calculation, Chen Mou's strength was above most people. All the forums and class groups in the school were discussing it. Some people thought that Chen Mou was strong and was the biggest dark horse this year, while others thought that Chen Mou was still taking advantage of the situation. His real strength was not bad, but not as strong as everyone imagined. The main reason was that the last move was too weird. Qi Wencheng's ultimate move had no effect on Chen Mou. This move was a move that would kill him if he failed. He concentrated all his energy and spirit to punch, mobilize the world's momentum, and completely gave up all defense. Unexpectedly, this move was ineffective against Chen Mou, and Chen Mou seized the opportunity to launch a fierce counterattack. Some people speculated that Chen Mou had a method to target momentum, while others thought that Qi Wencheng was too arrogant. In fact, his momentum was very imperfect and easy to be cracked. Chen Mou was able to win this duel because of good luck. Although there were doubts, more people were still amazed at Chen Mou's strength. After all, it was a fact that he defeated Qi Wencheng. Yanghui High School respects strength, and strength still depends on facts. In Teacher Zheng's teacher's dormitory, a girl in school uniform was holding a mobile phone. Her white and tender fingers kept swiping on the mobile phone, and her smart eyes stared at the content on it, looking non-stop. She raised her head, revealing a beautiful face, full of youthfulness, and said to Zhang Xingteng, "Dad, senior brother Chen Mou and senior brother Qi Wencheng had a fight today. Did you go to watch?" It turned out that this girl was Zhang Xingteng's daughter Zhang Xiaotong. Zhang Xingteng slumped on the sofa without any image, raised his head and glanced. "I had something to do today, so I didn't go." "Did you go? And you were wearing a school uniform, which is not like you." Yanghui High School naturally has school uniforms, and the design is not bad, but the school rules do not require students to wear them, so few people wear school uniforms in school. No matter how good the design is, once everyone has it, the clothes will lose their individuality, and the word good is only relative. Zhang Xingteng has never seen his daughter wearing a school uniform before. Zhang Xiaotong laughed. "I told that little girl Xiaoyu that whether clothes look good or not mainly depends on the person wearing them. If you are good-looking, you can attract attention even if you wear a school uniform. If you are not good-looking, it will be useless no matter what fashion you wear." She still didn't believe it, so I put on a school uniform to prove it to her. Sure enough, with my status as the #1 campus beauty in Yanghui High School, even in a school uniform I am still the most handsome guy on this street. What a mess. Zhang Xingteng was surprised. He also knew Xiaoyu. She was Zhang Xiaotong's classmate and they had a good relationship. "You should study hard and stop doing these things. And isn't Xiu Xiaoxi the #1 campus beauty? When will it be your turn?" Zhang Xiaotong glanced at Zhang Xingteng. "Dad, I didn't expect you to be bad and know so much about this information. Xiu Xiaoxi is about to graduate, so won't I take over the throne of #1? Zhang Xingteng's face darkened. "What do you mean I've learned bad things? It's because you, a bunch of idle students, have come up with these useless things. I teach here every day, and I can't help but know them." Noticing Zhang Xingteng's bad face, Zhang Xiaotong quickly brought the topic back. "Speaking of which, senior brother Chen Mou was really brave today, as if he had taken medicine, and finally fought back and defeated Qi Wencheng." However, some people on the school forum were not convinced, saying that Chen Mou's luck played a big role in this battle. You don't have to pay attention to such people. If he doesn't agree, you can ask him to challenge Qi Wencheng and see if he can also win by luck. Zhang Xingteng was very disdainful of such people. Zhang Xiaotong nodded, and then asked in confusion, How did senior brother Chen Mou make such rapid progress? I have to ask him for advice when I meet him next time. Did he really take medicine? Speaking of this, Dad, you gave him all my nutrient solution a few days ago. As he said this, he showed a bit of resentment. It's just nutrient solution. I'll buy you a few boxes tomorrow. We have plenty of money. Zhang Xingtang didn't care. A box of nutrient solution cost 60,000 yuan, but he bought several boxes at once. His tycoon style was exposed. You are rich, but I am not. If you are so rich, why don't you give me some more? I only give you 200 or 300 pocket money every month, which is not enough. Fortunately, I have recently become a mysterious person and have a government subsidy. Zhang Xiaotong muttered in a low voice, and the voice was so low that Zhang Xingtang couldn't hear it clearly. At the same time, Zhang Xiaotong was also secretly wondering where her father got so much money, and she didn't see him accepting red envelopes from students' parents. At this time, a mobile phone rang in Chen Mou's house. Chen Mou was eating, and when he heard the ringing, he couldn't help but stop and took out his mobile phone. It was an unfamiliar number. Chen Mou pressed the answer button with some doubts. Hello, is this Mr. Chen Mou? Here is your express delivery. Is it convenient to receive it now? A polite male voice came from the other side of the microphone. Chen Mou was stunned. It seemed that he hadn't bought anything recently. After thinking for a while, he said, I'm at home now. Is there my detailed address on the package? Yes. The man replied, please wait, the package will be delivered soon. After hanging up the phone and waiting for more than 10 minutes, there was a knock on the door. Chen Mou got up and walked over to open the door. A robot that was 2/3 of Chen Mou's height was standing at the door. There was a flying device on its back and a large package in its left hand, which contained several express deliveries. Mr. Chen Mou, we meet again. Robot number 073 of the Yonghui branch of Suda Company is here to serve you. As he spoke, the robot raised his right hand and saluted. The scene revealed a hint of humor. Chen Mou was not surprised by the scene. In the past, things purchased online were also delivered by this robot. The two were already old acquaintances. After thanking the robot earnestly, Chen Mou signed for the express delivery that belonged to him. Mr. Chen Mou, remember to give a good review later. Robot number 073 waved and turned away. Walking out of the corridor, the flying device on the back of the robot started and flew towards the next house. Chen Mou returned home holding the express box. His parents also looked at it strangely, but did not ask much. The box was not big, square, and very light. After removing the express box, there was a wooden box inside, which was very beautifully made. There were dots of stars printed on it, giving people a deep and mysterious feeling. At this time, Chen Mou knew what was inside. It was probably a Zhuan's certificate. This star map was a symbolic pattern of the Zhuan's headquarters of Huiki country, symbolizing the will to explore the starry sky. Continue to unpack it, and there's a Zhuan's certificate, a Zhuan's identity card that looks like golden iron, a bank card, and several instruction manuals. Chen Mou picked up the Zhuan's certificate and saw the following words written on it. Comrade Chen Mou has been assessed and has met the quality requirements and is certified as a Zhuan's. Zhuan's certificate number 300,153,596. His current realm is that of a beginner. The signing unit is the East China Zhuan's Certification Committee, and it is stamped with a bright red steel seal. Chapter 27. A monthly subsidy of 3,000 yuan. Zhuan's finally became a Zhuan's. After years of hard work, he started training in elementary school, then in junior high school, and then in high school. During this period, he was confused and lazy, but he persisted in the end. Years of persistence finally paid off at this moment. Zhuan's is not just a small certificate, nor is it just a simple title, but a manifestation of social status. Becoming a Zhuan's, there are various policy supports to start a business. If you want to borrow money to buy a mecha or a house, the bank will also open the door to convenience, and the interest rate is only half of that of ordinary people. Father Chen Jianai and Mother Tan Zirwan watched silently from behind, without saying a word, but the excitement in their eyes revealed that their hearts were not calm. For an ordinary family like them, it is very difficult to cultivate a Zhuan's. It takes too many resources to become a Zhuan's, poor in literature and rich in martial arts. Chen Jianai and his friends also have some close friends with similar family backgrounds. At the beginning, they all trained their children in the direction of Zhuan's, but most people eventually gave up because the cost was too high. Let alone anything else, just say that small bottle of nutrient solution, how many families can afford it? Most people still choose schools that focus on theoretical research and give up practical training. After all, in this society, if you have superb theoretical knowledge, you can also make a name for yourself. The country needs scientific research talents. But these people may not be unwilling in their hearts, but they can only give up in the face of heavy reality. Chen Jian'ai and his wife did not give up, and they kept gritting their teeth. Chen Mou's achievements today are inseparable from the support of the two. Chen Mou put down the certificate and picked up the following instructions to read them, but this was just a symbolic look. With his memory, he knew the contents above. The Zhuan's certificate is just a collection at home. The Zhuan's card that looks like gold and iron is the identity certificate of the Zhuan's, similar to an ID card, and the bank card is used to issue national subsidies. Zhuan's certificate number 302,153,596. This certificate number means that Chen Mou is the 153,596th person certified as a Zhuan's in 3020. Chen Mou was slightly surprised to see this. Before the halfway point of this year, 150,000 people have become Zhuan's. If it is the end of the year, it is estimated that more than 300,000 people will become Zhuan's. 300,000 strong people with strength exceeding 600 kilograms and speed exceeding 50 meters per second. The powerful national strength of Huaki country can be seen. The strength of these people can match that of lions and tigers, and their speed exceeds that of leopards. They are at the top of the food chain. And this is only the data for 1 year. It seems that there are many Zhuan's and they are not rare, but according to the data released by the Ministry of Education, the number of students taking the college entrance examination this year has exceeded 10 million. Most high school students who break through to the beginner level are in the third year of high school. Only a few can break through before the third year of high school, which can be ignored. Among the millions of people, only 300,000 Zhuan's emerged, which is not a lot. Moreover, many of these 300,000 are contributed by college students and graduated social personnel. It is estimated that only 100,000 people really broke through in the third year of high school. In other words, among the millions of people, only 100,000 students are selected, which is 1 in 100. Even if Chen Mou did not have a chance encounter, he would have almost reached the beginner level and become a talent selected from 100. On second thought, if these 100,000 are averaged out to each province will have less than 10,000 people. Then Chen Mou can rank in the top 10,000 in the province in the college entrance examination, and his written test score will definitely pull him up to the top 5,000. With this score, it will be no problem to get into a key university, but it is very difficult to get into schools like Xinghua. This is the previous Chen Mou. Now Chen Mou has made great progress in strength, and his realm is considered high among beginners. As for how high he can rank, it is hard to say, and it can only be tested through the college entrance examination. The number of 150,000 also alerted Chen Mou, 150,000 in half a year, 300,000 in a year. Reaching the level of a beginner and becoming a Zhuanist is nothing, and the gap between Zhuanists is also very large. Can the status of a beginner be compared with that of a law scholar or even a Hall of Fame strongman? Zhuanist is just the beginning, and the pace of striving will never stop. Of course, Chen Mou will not stop, and his goal is still the starry sky. Chen Jian'ai and the others did not think as much as Chen Mou, and they were very satisfied that Chen Mou became a Zhuanist. Some parents feel that their own life has little hope, so they put all their hopes on the next generation, and even force the next generation to work hard. But Chen Jian'ai is not like this. If Chen Mou wants to work hard, he will try his best to provide resources. If Chen Mou wants to be lazy, he will let Chen Mou be lazy. For the exams from primary school to junior high school and junior high school to high school, the two even advised Chen Mou not to be too stressed, and it didn't matter if he did poorly on the exams. Chen Mou picked up the bank card again, downloaded an official software on his mobile phone according to the instructions, and bound it. The password of the bank card is written in the manual. It is a random code. If you want to change it, you need to go to the bank ATM to operate it. After binding, Chen Mou can check various information of the bank card on his mobile phone, among which the most conspicuous is the balance. 3,000 inches. Chen Mou was slightly excited. He had heard that the mysterious can receive national subsidies. The subsidies for different realms are also different. The beginner realm is 3,000 per month. Hearing is one thing, and seeing it with your own eyes and holding it in your hands is another. The bank card I got now is real, and the password is in my hands. As long as I want, I can withdraw the 3,000 yuan at any time. And in the future, there will be a subsidy of 3,000 yuan every month. 3,000 yuan a month is very little for a mysterious person. If Chen Mou starts working now, he can at least find a job with a salary of 30,000 yuan a month, which is 10 times the subsidy, because he is strong and has many skills. Yonghui High School does not cultivate people who can only read books, but cultivates real talents. But 3,000 can be considered a lot. Some ordinary working class people work hard for a month and only get 3,000 or 4,000 yuan in salary. For example, Chen Mou's parents have a monthly salary of 5,000 and 4,000 respectively, while Chen Mou can get 3,000 without doing anything. Some people even try their best to reach the standard of a mysterious person just to get this 3,000 yuan a month, and then eat and wait for death. If this person goes out to work, he can earn 10 times more money than this, but he is unwilling to do so. He only wants to live a lazy life and be paralyzed at home. However, this situation is a thing of the past. Huqi state issues subsidies to encourage Zionists to work hard and add strength to the country's prosperity, not to nurture parasites. Now, if Huqi state finds that a Zionist has not worked for a long time, the subsidy qualification will be directly cancelled. There are only a few exceptions. One is still studying, and the other is that although not working, the realm's strength is constantly improving. This will be considered as hard training. In addition, there are some special cases. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Renovation Plan. Chen Mou thought about it and decided to give the bank card to his parents for safekeeping. Although 3,000 yuan a month is not a small amount, it is still a drop in the bucket for his cultivation. After going to college, he will definitely make money through various methods and will not live on this 3,000 yuan. Cultivation requires too many resources. But 3,000 yuan is a huge sum of money for his parents, and the key is that they can receive it every month. His parents have worked so hard for so long, and it is time to improve their family life. In addition, in order to support Chen Mou's studies, the family has never had any savings. This is absolutely not acceptable. A family must keep some savings so that they can resist risks. Otherwise, if there is any unexpected situation or if they get sick, although it is not serious, they will have to spend a lot of money. If they can't come up with the money at this time, it will be embarrassing. Now that everyone in Huqi is in good health, they don't have to worry too much about getting sick. In addition, the medical insurance system in Huqi is extremely well established. When seeing a doctor, the state usually pays 90%, and individuals only need to pay 10%, so everyone can afford to see a doctor. However, there may be various situations in life where you need to spend money suddenly, and no one can calculate everything. At first, his parents refused. After all, this was Chen Mou's welfare card, but seeing Chen Mou's insistence, they accepted it. Chen Jianai was already very happy that Chen Mou became a mysterious person, and this time he couldn't stop smiling. He looked at the environment of his home and began to think, these 3,000 yuan that suddenly come out every month, I have to save them for a while, so that the family can have some surplus food, and then I can consider renovating the house in the future. Chen Mou's home is too simple. Although it is not broken and solid, it is surrounded by white walls and old furniture, revealing traces of time everywhere. Chen Jianai wanted to decorate the house. Of course, it is impossible to renovate it. It will cost at least tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. However, some small renovations and furniture replacements are possible. This is a matter for the future. Chen Jianai does not plan to spend money immediately. He also understands the principle of saving money. If you have food in your hands, you will not be panicked. People also need to have savings to be strong. Tonight, Chen Mou's family was beaming with joy, because they got 3,000 yuan for nothing, and his mother Tan Zioyan even planned to buy more food for tomorrow's meal. This reflects the contrast between Zhang Xingteng's family and Chen Mou's family. Zhang Xingteng just planned to buy a few boxes of nutrient solution tomorrow, and he didn't even blink an eye. A box of nutrient solution worth 60,000 yuan was given away as a gift, while Chen Mou's family was so happy because they got 3,000 yuan. But small people also have small people's feelings, and this kind of excitement is difficult for Zhang Xingtang to experience. Although 3,000 yuan is not much, it is the beginning of a change in the family's destiny and heralds a bright future. The family of three talked and laughed. After Chen Mou finished his meal, he did not immerse himself in this excitement, but returned to the bedroom. Now he no longer reviews theoretical knowledge. First of all, he is proficient in this and is a top figure in the school. Even if he is placed in the province or the country, he can rank among the top. Now Chen Mou has obtained detailed future memories, and the theory in it is 100 times more profound than now, so it doesn't matter whether he reviews it or not. Chen Mou was thinking about the arrangement of the nutrient solution. On June 19th, teacher Zhang gave him a box of nutrient solution with 30 bottles. He drank 2 bottles on that day, and then drank 3 bottles each on the 20th and 21st, and 3 bottles on the 22nd, today. All of a sudden, there were only 19 bottles left of the 30 bottles of nutrient solution. The college entrance examination will start on July 1st, which means that Chen Mou can continue to train until the 30th. The nutrient solution will definitely not be enough if it is consumed at this rate. However, Chen Mou does not train at high intensity every day. Even with his physique, he cannot bear it. He must leave some time for his body to make fine adjustments and recover. On days when the training volume is not very large, drinking 2 bottles or even 1 bottle a day is enough. In fact, Chen Mou's classmates, even if they have money, will not drink 3 bottles a day like him. It's not that their families can't afford it, but that they can't digest it and have excess nutrition. Generally speaking, it's good to digest 1 bottle a day. Most people only drink 1 bottle every 2 days. Chen Mou has no choice now. He must improve his strength as soon as possible, so he drinks 3 bottles a day. However, after practicing the magic dragon body forging method, his physique was able to digest it. Others took 1 bottle every 2 days, but Chen Mou took 3 bottles a day, and the absorption efficiency was very high. It can be said that Chen Mou's current 1-day practice effect is better than other 6-day practice effect. If he practices until the 30th, more than 10 days, it is almost equivalent to 2 or 3 months for others. Time passed day by day. In the remaining days, Chen Mou practiced all the time and did not dare to slack off. On the 22nd, Chen Mou's strength was 850 kilograms, and on the 29th, Chen Mou reached 950 kilograms. An increase of 100 kilograms in 7 days is extremely terrifying for ordinary people. However, compared with Chen Mou's previous terrifying improvement speed, this speed is more acceptable. The later it is, the more difficult it is for Chen Mou to improve. It takes time to accumulate and slowly polish his body, but it can't be done overnight. In the training room, Chen Mou and the training robot faced each other from a distance. As soon as the attack command was issued, the training robot immediately attacked swiftly. This robot has been set to the highest level by Chen Mou. The energy is fully turned on and it is running at high power. It bursts and immediately comes to Chen Mou, sweeping with an iron fist. Chen Mou bent his elbow and hid it. There was a sound of wind and thunder in his body. The two collided and a spark was created. However, this robot is of the highest level and is much stronger than when Chen Mou came to train that day. Not only is it more powerful, but it also has mastered some fighting skills. When the first attack failed, the robot immediately changed its moves, punching and kneeing. Each move was powerful and varied, not the old-fashioned look before. Chen Mou's body was like a swimming dragon, like a startled wild goose. With each move, the world changed. Although the strength and speed have not increased much, Chen Mou's body crackled like thunder when he attacked, and his destructive power was much stronger than before. If he met Qi Wenchang now, he would not need to take defensive counterattack measures, but could directly suppress him and beat him. Qi Wenchang's strength is 1,000 kilograms, which is a bit stronger than Chen Mou, but Chen Mou's body is not comparable to his. He also practices Sea Swallow Secret, which makes him inexhaustible and almost never tired. He is simply an immortal god of war. After fighting with the training robot for a long time and draining it of power again, Chen Mou packed up his things and walked out of the training hall leisurely. Su Xingxia was no longer surprised by this. After Chen Mou left, he went into the training room and arranged for the robot to charge. That night, the school issued a notice that the senior high school students would return to school on the morning of the 30th to make arrangements before the exam. The college entrance examination is coming soon. Chapter 29, the last lesson. Classroom of Senior 3, 1. Many students gathered in the classroom. No one was absent. This was the place where they often came to take theoretical courses. They had spent a long time here, and every inch of this place was familiar to them. Today was June 30th, and the college entrance examination would begin tomorrow, July 1st. They gathered here today to wait for the school to make some necessary arrangements. Chen Mou looked around and saw many familiar faces. Gu Keishan, who looked ordinary but was quite capable. Zhu Chengwen, who drank too much nutrient solution and became slightly fat. Chen Kai, who was tall and mighty and had a good relationship with Chen Mou. Duan Zhengcheng, who had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes and was very capable. Chu Xiaoxi, who was as beautiful as a lotus emerging from water and was extremely charming. Chen Mou was looking at others, and many people were also observing him silently. Recently, his strength had improved rapidly and he was very popular. It was hard for people not to pay attention to him. Duan Zhengcheng looked at Chen Mou for a few times, revealing a thoughtful expression. He was the best player in the class besides Chu Xiaoxi, and his ranking in the school was even higher than Qi Wencheng. Not long after waiting, the head teacher of Senior 3, 1, class came in. His name was Yu Jingguo. He looked middle-aged, wearing a white shirt, with neatly combed hair, and holding a thick stack of papers in his hand. Yu Jingguo was not very strong, but he was very knowledgeable and was a master of theory. After a light cough, Yu Jingguo said, "Classmates, today we have called you here mainly to announce the results of the lottery for the exam arrangements and to talk about the precautions for the exam." As he spoke, he asked each class leader to come up, take the thick stack of papers, and distribute them accordingly. Chen Mou took it and looked at it. At the top was a machine-generated lottery result. Chen Mou was arranged to take the exam in this school. Some students took the exam in this school, and naturally some were arranged to take the exam in other schools. All these students were shuffled and placed in different schools to take the exam. This was also to make the college entrance examination more fair and eliminate the possibility of any cheating. The papers below were some of the college entrance examination process arrangements and various precautions. Yu Jingguo continued, "Students, the college entrance examination will begin tomorrow. This is an important note in life. You should pay attention to it, but don't be too nervous. As your class teacher, I have a certain understanding of each of you. You are all talents. What is the most important thing in the new era of Huaqigo? Of course, talents are the most important. As talents, you don't have to worry too much about your future. Gold will shine wherever it is." Chen Mou smiled secretly in his heart. This class teacher has a set of words. On the podium, Yu Jingguo continued his speech. For a while, he was eloquent and full of flowery words. And in the audience, several students have been brainwashed by him. They nodded repeatedly, and a solemn look appeared on their faces, as if the future of the country rested on their shoulders. After talking about the importance of talents, Yu Jingguo returned to the topic and talked about the arrangement process and precautions of the college entrance examination. The college entrance examination will last for several days, and there are many assessment contents, but to be honest, there are only two parts. The first is the theoretical examination, which is also the written examination, which is scheduled on the first and second days. Although it is only scheduled for 2 days, its importance is extremely high, accounting for half of the college entrance examination score, and is on the same level as the practical assessment. The content of the written test is also all-encompassing, such as cultivation theory, mecha design and maintenance, physical laws and various contents. There is nothing that the test setter cannot come up with, except for what you can't think of. Moreover, the written test often has some questions that are beyond the syllabus, which have never been learned in the textbooks, and it all depends on the student's daily accumulation. The practical assessment will last for several days and is divided into several projects. It changes every year and there is no regularity. The content of the practical test will be announced on the day of the assessment. At the end, Yu Jingguo finished explaining all the matters and said in a deep voice, "You are all talented people. I mean it. Although our Yonghui city is not a big city, our Yonghui High School ranks among the top in the entire East China province. The students who graduated from Yonghui High School have all made great achievements. Some of the top students can be regarded as figures nationwide. When you are successful, it doesn't matter if you forget me, but I hope you will always remember that you have an alma mater called Yonghui High School." Many students nodded heavily, and Chen Mou's face became solemn. After all, it was a place that carried 3 years of youth and 3 years of sweat. How could he forget it? Okay, let's go. Today is my last class for you. You can arrange your time freely in the future. Yu Jingguo took a deep look at the group of students and walked out of the classroom. When he left, Yu Jingguo felt a little reluctant, but not very strongly. Parting is always sad, but after sending off so many classes, this feeling has faded, or even numb. All good things must come to an end. Yu Jingguo shook his head and walked towards his office. The head teacher left, but the students of Senior 3-1 did not leave immediately. This gathering might be the last time the class would gather together. Tomorrow they would be assigned to their respective examination rooms. Although they planned to organize a graduation party after the exams, according to past experience, some people would not be able to attend for various reasons. It would be impossible to gather everyone. The classmates looked at each other, as if they wanted to engrave each other's shadows in their hearts. Finally, someone stood up and walked out of the classroom. The classroom, which was originally full of people, gradually became deserted. Chen Mou did not rush to leave. He just sat quietly in his seat, looking at the familiar corner, his mind empty. At this moment, he did not think about the past or the future. He just sat there, simply in a daze. But his breath kept changing, becoming stronger section by section. Finally, with a click, the joints and meridians of his body vibrated. The results of more than 10 days of training were finally integrated. There is no need to dwell on the past, but to look to the future. Chen Mou's thoughts became clear at this moment. Chen Mou. A cold voice pulled him back from his thoughts. It was Chu Xiaoxi. Chen Mou came to his senses and found that the classroom was empty. Only he and Chu Xiaoxi were left. How long have we known each other? Chu Xiaoxi was wearing a school uniform today, showing a youthful vitality, with curved eyebrows and eyes like clear lake water. This made Chen Mou feel a sense of reality. Chu Xiaoxi used to be a bit like a fairy from the sky, not caring about worldly things. 3 years. Chen Mou thought about it. Chen Mou and Chu Xiaoxi were in the same class since the first year of high school. In the past 3 years, Yonghui High School has redivided classes every year. Coincidentally, the two were assigned to the same class every year. This is the first time I have a friend for more than 3 years. My friends in the past felt that I was too cold and gradually became distant. Chu Xiaoxi showed a kind of melancholy on her face, and then she said expectantly, "How about we apply to the same university? This way we can always be friends." With Chen Mou's current grades, he has a good chance of impacting top universities such as Mingdao University and Tsinghua Academy. As for Yanshan University and Bixun University, which are on par with the Mingdao University and Tsinghua Academy, they are a bit far from Huadong province and are generally not the first choice. If you really want to apply for these two universities, it's okay. Mingdao University, Tsinghua Academy, Yanshan University, Bixun University, these 4 schools are all traditional powers in Huaki country, the top existence, and are known as the 4 famous universities. Chen Mou shook his head. I haven't thought about it yet, let's talk about it after the results come out. Okay, then I'll contact you then. Without getting a positive answer, Chu Xiaoxi's eyes dimmed a little. Chen Mou stood up and said, no matter what, we will always be friends. We will meet again someday, no matter how far we go. His words had a sense of power that made people unconsciously convinced. Well, let's make a pinky promise. Chu Xiaoxi, who is always cold, showed a rare look of excitement on her face, and at the same time extended a white and tender pinky finger. Chen Mou was stunned. He had never seen Chu Xiaoxi in such a state before, so he stupidly extended his pinky finger and the two were tightly hooked together. Chapter 30 on TV. July 1st. When the first rays of morning light shone on the city, the whole Yonghui city slowly woke up, and many students walked out of their homes and headed towards the school. This school is not necessarily the school you usually go to, but the school that is used as the examination venue according to the lottery results. Whichever school you are drawn to, you will go to that school to take the college entrance examination. Countless departments have been mobilized, and batches of traffic police are everywhere to maintain order and keep traffic smooth. Not only Yonghui City, but also the entire East China province and the entire Huaki country are busy. Various TV stations have been dispatched one after another, and each one has sent its best reporters to follow up the report. Inside the TV station, There was a lot of open and secret fighting to decide who can report on the scene in person. Yang Hui TV sent a reporter with a bright and moving appearance, who is in her 20s, tall, wearing a reporter's work clothes, and long hair like a waterfall falling on her shoulders. This time, she represented Yang Hui TV to report on the whole process of the college entrance examination. The TV station also equipped her with assistants, professional photographers, and a whole team of 7 or 8 people. The people of Yang Hui are very familiar with this tall beauty. Her name is Lin Yahan. Although she is young, she has often appeared on TV in the past 2 years. She has strong professional skills, standard pronunciation, fluent speaking, targeted questions, and generous and decent performance without stage fright. The most rare thing is that in the face of some harsh environmental conditions, such as typhoons, floods, earthquakes, etc., she never backs down and dares to go to the scene directly. Lin Yahan was very excited at the moment. In order to get this opportunity, she went through a fierce competition and used some family connections. There were interviews at the gate of Yang Hui High School, and naturally there were interviews at the gates of other schools. However, in Yang Hui City, Yang Hui High School is the most famous and has the most attention, so naturally every reporter wants to come to Yang Hui High School. Yang Hui TV station is the official TV station of Yang Hui City, but in addition to this TV station, Yang Hui City has several other TV stations. Lin Yahan secretly made up her mind that she must perform well this time and suppress those TV stations. This college entrance examination has attracted nationwide attention. Although Yang Hui TV is only a local TV station and is not very large, if the report is good, there is a chance that it will be broadcast by the provincial TV station or even the central TV station. After preparing for a while, Lin Yahan began to report, "Dear audience friends, we are at the main gate of Yang Hui High School. Today is the day when the National College Entrance Examination begins. The content of the college entrance examination is divided into 2 types. One is a purely theoretical examination, and the other is a test of both theory and practice." Before Lin Yahan came to report, he did enough homework and talked about the difference between the two to the audience. The purely theoretical examination is aimed at high schools with theoretical research directions. These high schools do not arrange practical training, and the usual training only stays at the level of physical exercise. Schools like Yang Hui High School learn both theory and practice, and cultivate all-round talents in literature and martial arts. Students who study purely theoretically are arranged in other examination halls, separated from civil and martial schools. These students also receive considerable attention. They are all future scientific research talents of the country and are also highly valued. However, their attention is still not as high as that of Yang Hui High School, a school with both literary and martial arts. Lin Yahan did not report on these students. After all, she was too busy to report on them, so she had to give up reluctantly. The ratings of Yang Hui TV station have been rising all the way. In contrast, other TV programs have had poor ratings, and the audience has flowed into the news channel of Yang Hui TV station. The attention to the college entrance examination was not so high before, but recently the college entrance examination has increasingly highlighted its importance. Why is the college entrance examination important? Because it is an important node in the allocation of social resources. On this day, news such as big moves by stars and the completion of new dramas are all sidelined, and the influence is directly swept away by the college entrance examination. The college entrance examination is also an important stage for showing the martial arts strength of many students. In this national college entrance examination, there may be future Hall of Fame strongmen hiding, people who guide the direction of the country. No matter how famous the stars are, they cannot compare with the Hall of Fame strongmen. However, these film and television companies are very smart. If there is any new drama publicity and momentum, they will avoid this limelight. Some people who want to hype it up have to temporarily put this plan on hold. After introducing the difference between the two, Lin Yahan randomly selected several students and asked them to talk about their feelings, opinions and the results they hope to achieve. Chen Kai was selected. Lin Yahan walked up to him and asked, "Hello, classmate. The college entrance examination is about to begin. The first day is the written test, and the practical inspection will be carried out in the following days. Are you confident about this written test?" Chen Kai blushed. Why is he talking about something else? His written test score was just average. It was okay for Chen Mou to answer this question. However, he quickly calmed down. Average is relative to Chen Mou. His written test score is pretty good in the whole school. If he performs well, he can still rank in the 20s or 30s. I think it's not a big problem. Chen Kai replied. Without waiting for the reporter to continue asking questions, he immediately rushed across the road and walked towards the school gate. Why are you leaving now? Lin Yahun was stunned. There were still questions that she hadn't asked. However, she soon reacted and caught Chen Mou's figure in her peripheral vision and rushed up excitedly. She had made a lot of preparations for the college entrance examination this time, so she naturally knew Chen Mou. In terms of written examinations, Chen Mou was one of the best in the whole Yonghui city. Hello, Chen Mou, I am Lin Yahun, a reporter from Yonghui TV station. Are you sure about today's written examination? What is your ideal result? Lin Yahun handed the microphone to Chen Mou. No problem. Chen Mou walked towards the school gate without stopping. Lin Yahun was stunned again. How could this answer be exactly the same as before, and it was the same whether it was said or not? Moreover, both of them left in a hurry, which was completely different from the excited performance of the audience when they were interviewed in the past. Those people wanted to show their faces in front of the camera more often. However, she was very professional and immediately introduced Chen Mou's past deeds to the camera, and said, "My dear audience friends, you may not know much about the students just now. His name is Chen Mou. He is very talented in theoretical research and is hardworking and studious. He has won the first place in the city's high school written test league many times. Judging from Chen Mou's performance today, he is full of confidence. Let us look forward to his next performance." At this time, a group of students walked towards the gate of Yonghui High School. The first one was extraordinary, and the other students followed him on his side, like a group of stars surrounding the moon. Lin Yahun's pupils shrank. The real heavyweight figure came. She knew the first one. It was the top student of Chenbei No. 1 Middle School, Duan Feichen. He was arranged to take the college entrance examination at Yonghui High School. Chapter 31 The First Exam. Yonghui High School and Chenbei No. 1 High School have always been in a competitive relationship. Although it is not a big grudge, the relationship has never been good. Today, the top expert of Chenbei No. 1 High School came to Yonghui High School to take the exam, which naturally attracted attention. Lin Yahun also got the news that Su Dao, the second-ranked student of Yonghui High School, was arranged to go to Chenbei No. 1 High School to take the college entrance examination, and Zhu Xiaoxi, who ranked first, went to Yonghui No. 1 High School. Lin Yahun stepped forward quickly and interviewed Duan Feichen. The written test is not difficult for me. I pay more attention to the actual combat process that follows. I heard that Yonghui High School has 10 top experts, but unfortunately the first and second ranked ones were arranged to go to other schools. The remaining ones, haha. Duan Feichen faced the camera with a blank expression. While speaking, a momentum burst out. With him as the center, a strong wind formed in a radius of 10 meters, whistling and rolling, almost blowing Lin Yahun down. Fortunately, Lin Yahun's strength is not weak, and he quickly stabilized his body. Without saying much, Duan Feichen shook his head and walked straight into Yonghui High School. This is controlling airflow, turning thoughts into wind, the realm of miracle appresentis. Lin Yahun's shock was written on her face. It was said that Duan Feichen was extraordinary, and today's meeting really understood his terrifyingness. Other students were still in the beginner's realm, struggling to improve their strength and speed, but Duan Feichen had already broken through to miracle appresentis. No wonder he was so powerful. Except for Zhu Xiaoxi and Su Dao, he ignored Yonghui High School. It was a pity that Zhu Xiaoxi, Su Dao and Duan Feichen were drawn to different schools, otherwise they might have seen the dragon and tiger fighting for supremacy of these three people. Lin Yahun secretly felt sorry in her heart. Actual combat, how can it be called actual combat without fighting? This actual combat test will be arranged for several days, with a lot of assessment content, and it changes every year. But generally a real combat contest will be arranged on the last day to see the level of the students. Lin Yahun was shocked and dazed for only a moment, and immediately faced the camera again, introducing Duan Feichen to the audience, and during the period, it was inevitable to promote him. Chen Mou walked into Yonghui High School and found his own examination center according to the seat number indicated on the admission ticket issued yesterday. On the door of the classroom, there is a scanning device. Every student entering the examination room will be scanned once. Any mobile phone, small communicator and other devices will be detected. If you bring these things, You must take them off and hand them over to the examiner before you can continue to enter. It is still early. Chen Mou entered the classroom half an hour in advance and waited quietly in his seat for the exam to begin. Students came in one after another. All of them were very quiet and silent, and the whole examination room was very quiet. Time is up. Hand out the papers. On the podium, the chief examiner stood up. His eyes were very sharp, like a hawk, and no one could think of cheating in front of him. The written test process is divided into 2 days, and each day is divided into 2 sessions in the morning and afternoon, examining different contents. Chen Mou took the test paper, wrote his name, student number and other contents, and started answering the questions immediately. At the beginning, there were some routine multiple choice and fill-in-the-blank questions, which were not difficult for Chen Mou at all. Chen Mou wrote very fast, and when he encountered some questions that required calculations, he quickly calculated them on the draft paper, and soon he had finished all the multiple choice questions. The candidates around him broke out in cold sweat when they saw this scene. After a look, Chen Mou had finished 2 pages of test questions, but he was still stuck on the multiple choice questions, and he was a little doubtful about his life. The next ones were big questions, which were more comprehensive. Chen Mou felt that they were quite difficult. Many of these questions are beyond the syllabus. Chen Mou was very familiar with the content in the book, and he also did a lot of extended reading outside of class. Although it was difficult, it was not difficult for him. What's more, he had the memory of the future. He had entered the dream twice, and his memory was much clearer. In the future, he had seen a super civilization that ruled more than a dozen galaxies, with interstellar battleships covering the sky, space jumps were easy, and various technologies were very advanced. Although Chen Mou did not spend a lot of energy on research, he also studied seriously for a long time. Although the speed has slowed down, he still solved several big questions in succession. The production process of antimatter and improvement ideas. Looking at the next question, Chen Mou's eyes fixed. Chen Mou naturally knew that antimatter is an ultimate energy source in the universe, which is 100 times more advanced than nuclear energy. What is antimatter? What we usually see is positive matter, and antimatter is the opposite state of normal matter. When positive and antimatter meet, the 2 sides annihilate each other, an explosion occurs and huge energy is generated. This process easily reminds people of the famous formula that energy is equal to mass multiplied by the square of the speed of light. When positive and antimatter collide, mass is directly converted into energy. The energy brought by this process is extremely terrifying. Like nuclear energy and nuclear bombs, everyone talks about it with fear, and they also use this formula to generate energy. But not all massive nuclear energy can be converted into energy. For example, the Jinwu star that has been providing sunlight to Zijixing has been undergoing nuclear fusion, but the proportion of mass converted into energy is extremely small. The way antimatter provides energy is similar to nuclear energy, but it is far superior to nuclear energy. What's more, if humans want to use nuclear energy, they must build a nuclear reactor. You can't carry a reactor around all the time. Antimatter has many advantages, but it also has its disadvantages, that is, it is too expensive. In the past, it would cost trillions of RMB to produce 1 gram of antimatter, which is countless times more expensive than diamonds. Now that technology has advanced, the cost has been reduced, but it is still an extremely rare and luxurious thing. Chen Mou's mind was racing, and all the above thoughts flashed through his mind in a second, and then he returned to the question. The question asked about the production process of antimatter, which was absolutely beyond the scope. How could a high school student answer such a question? Maybe there will be studies in this area in college, but at least there is no such content in high school. However, Chen Mou usually reads a lot of science and technology magazines and has a certain understanding of this. In his future memory, he has studied antimatter for a long time. The energy released by 1 gram of antimatter is equal to tens of thousands of tons of explosives. If a planet-sized antimatter can be produced, anyone facing it will tremble. At that time, Chen Mou was thinking about turning antimatter into something like his trump card. But he gave up later. Antimatter is good, but it is also an external object, not one's own cultivation. The annihilation explosion of a large amount of antimatter and positive matter is indeed amazing, but the opponent must be lured to a close distance. After thinking for a while, Chen Mou wrote down the manufacturing process of antimatter. This process is extremely complicated and expensive. Then Chen Mou proposed some feasible improvement measures, which is also the requirement of the topic. However, the words used by Chen Mou are vague. It seems feasible, but the whole process is not very clear. Chen Mou was cautious and did not dare to write too much detail. That was too inconsistent with the identity of a high school student. He was afraid that he would be caught and studied directly. Chapter 32. The first one to walk out of the examination room. Chen Mou wrote quickly, and the answers to many difficult questions seemed to come naturally in his mind without any thinking. He turned into a ruthless printing machine, printing the answers word by word on the answer sheet. Time passed by minute, and the pressure felt by the examinee next to him became greater and greater. Finally, Chen Mou stood up and walked to the podium. "Teacher, I'll hand in my paper." The examiner with a hawk-like gaze and a face as cold as ice could not help but be moved. The 3-hour exam only took 1 hour to hand in the paper. Even copying the answers was not that fast. While the students were writing furiously, he also glanced at the test questions a few times, and even he felt that they were difficult. Okay. The examiner reached out and took the test paper. Handing in the paper in advance was a personal choice, and Huaqiao did not restrict it. He was an examiner from another place and did not know Chen Mou. He did not know whether this man was really capable or just sensational. In any case, he would not stop him. At the gate of Yonghui High School, a group of reporters were waiting boredly. Compared with the interviews before the exam, the interviews after the exam were the highlight. How much can you get out of an interview before the exam? It's nothing more than asking whether you have confidence. How is your preparation for the exam? What kind of results do you want to achieve? Post-exam interviews are different. Candidates have a sense of how well they performed. How difficult is the exam this year? What weird questions are there? How are the types of questions distributed? These are all things that the audience is very concerned about. Now it's just 1 hour into the exam. Some TV stations directly switch to other content, while others continue to introduce content related to the college entrance examination. According to convention, it will take at least an hour and a half for candidates to come out. This long period of time is naturally tormenting for reporters. At this time, someone shouted, "It's out." The reporters present were startled. What came out? Are there any candidates coming out? But it seems that it won't be that fast. A candidate has handed in his paper. The reporters gradually reacted, and from a distance, a student with a height of nearly 1.8 meters came out. This person is Chen Mou. After many days of training, a large amount of nutrient solution and meat and vegetables, he has grown a little taller and his body is no longer thin as before. He looks strong and powerful. Lin Yaohun rushed forward, squeezing out the reporters at the same time, showing extraordinary strength. "Hello, classmate Chen Mou, I am Lin Yaohun, a reporter from Yonghui TV. Our TV station is broadcasting the grand occasion of the college entrance examination live. Not only that, we have also opened a live broadcast room online, and now there are many viewers paying attention to this matter. According to the news we received, you should be the first student in the entire Yonghui city to walk out of the examination room. I would like to ask how difficult this exam is. Hello, classmate, I am a reporter from Chengnan TV. May I ask this time? Hello, classmate, I am from Fox Shadow Network TV. A group of reporters rushed up one after another. Everyone calmed down, ask questions one by one. Chen Mou was a little caught off guard by such enthusiasm. I think the difficulty of this time is okay. Chen Mou thought for a while. In the eyes of our Yonghui High School, there should be no difficult college entrance examination papers. Everyone who knows our Yonghui High School knows that Yonghui High School has always been the leading school in Yonghui City. Classmate Chen Mou, you only spent 1 hour to finish the exam this morning. Does it mean that the difficulty of this test paper is very low? The reporter from Chengnan TV asked. Yes, it's very simple. Chen Mou nodded. It seems that Chen Mou is very confident. I wish you great success here. What is the type of this exam? Can you tell me? Another reporter asked. Behind him, several photographers followed him with cameras. The content of this exam is mainly. Chen Mou's analysis made the reporters confused. These people have graduated for many years and have returned a lot of knowledge to their teachers. For a moment, they really couldn't figure out whether the test paper was difficult or easy. Okay, thank you for sharing. 5 minutes later, Chen Mou waved goodbye to many reporters. Although these reporters still have some questions, they can't hold on to people. Moreover, 5 minutes is enough to interview one person. If it takes longer, the audience will lose their sense of freshness. Although Chen Mou left, the reporters were not worried. Since the first person came out, the second and third will come out soon. Just wait a little bit. Then they will have to interview them. This wait lasted for half an hour. The reporters looked at each other in bewilderment. Why didn't anyone come out? Could it be that the examination room was blocked? The live broadcast rooms opened by several TV stations were also noisy. Why hasn't anyone come out yet? Although it is the students' freedom to hand in their papers at any time, an early submission is not encouraged, but the first one has been out for such a long time, according to common sense, the second and third ones should have come out long ago. Yes, I saw the first students who came out said that the test questions were quite simple. Is it necessary to take so long? Some netizens questioned. Did they check it several times? Are these college entrance examination candidates too cautious, or are they not strong enough? Maybe the first student who came out was just trying to attract attention. He handed in the paper without even finishing it. You are really a frog in the well. You don't even know that person. His name is Chen Mou. He has won the first place in the city's high school league written test many times. Can you do that? You dare to question his grandstanding. No wonder there was a quarrel online. I thought it would be the second student's turn to come out soon, and I would get a comprehensive understanding of the situation. In the end, I had to wait here for half an hour with the live broadcast room open. Anyone would be annoyed. At this time, a message floated out. Everyone, don't waste time here, change the live broadcast room. Someone came out of the live broadcast room of Yonghua No. 1 Middle School. In an instant, netizens switched live broadcast rooms one after another, and the screen on the TV station also changed, switching to Yonghua No. 1 Middle School. These TV stations have reporters and photographers in various schools. Wow, goddess. The screen switched, and Chu Xiaoxi walked out of the gate of Yonghua No. 1 Middle School with lotus steps, attracting the attention of many netizens. This time the test paper is okay, although it is difficult, but I can handle it. Facing the camera, Chu Xiaoxi is still calm and composed. The next person to come out is Duan Feichin, and the screen switches back to Yonghua High School. Many questions beyond the syllabus can still be dealt with. Duan Feichin's face no longer has the high spirits at the beginning, but overall he is still confident. The fourth, fifth, and many other candidates came out one after another. Su Dao, who many people pay attention to, did not walk out of the school gate until the 23rd place. And Chen Kai followed Su Dao and walked out at the 24th place. Chen Kai was also a little unsure about this test paper. He completed what he could do, and had to give up some things that he really couldn't do. If he didn't know the answer to a question, he didn't know it at all. It wasn't like he could figure it out by thinking for a while, so he handed in the paper directly without wasting any more time. The questions this time were too weird, and there was really no way to judge how well he had done. The college entrance examination didn't mean that the faster you handed in the paper, the better. In the end, it all depended on the score. Even if you handed in the paper too quickly and didn't check it, you would still get a lower score. The audience also understood this and didn't rank the students by how fast they came out. Starting from the second student, the students who walked out of the examination room had a short time interval, and only Chen Mou walked out more than half an hour earlier than the others, which attracted a lot of attention. Chapter 33 Candidates Who Doubt Their Lives. The heated discussion about the college entrance examination has not ended yet, and the afternoon exam has begun again. A little over an hour later, Chen Mou took the lead again and walked out of the school gate. Student Chen Mou, how difficult do you think the test paper is this afternoon? Microphones were once again aimed at Chen Mou. It's relatively simple. I think in the eyes of us Yonghua High School students, there should be no difficult college entrance examination papers. But this time, many reporters stared at Chen Mou with suspicion. It was this person who said that the test questions were simple in the morning, but judging from the reactions of the candidates who came out later, the test paper was not ordinary difficult. At first, they naturally believed Chen Mou's words, but the second, third, and fourth candidates who came out made them realize that the situation seemed a little unusual. After the 3-hour exam in the morning ended and all the candidates came out, they were surprised to find that the depth of this test paper was rare in 10 years. The complaints on the internet were overwhelming, and the jokes of various jokes were endless. Student Chen Mou, are you sure about this? Yes, this test paper is of moderate difficulty. The person who set the questions should have thought it through carefully. The reporters nodded. According to common sense, in a college entrance examination, The test papers should be difficult and easy. Since the morning test was very difficult, the afternoon test might be really easy. Chen Mou gently turned sideways, walked out of the gap, and headed towards home. The reporters did not chase him to ask questions. But after almost half an hour, when the second candidate did not come out, these reporters, the audience in front of the TV, and the netizens in the live broadcast room all smelled a hint of something unusual. After a few minutes, judging from the faces of Chiu Xiaoxi, Duan Feichin and others who came out one after another, this test paper did not seem to be that simple. Student Chiu Xiaoxi, is this test paper difficult? The reporter in front of the gate of Yonghui No. 1 Middle School asked directly. I can still handle it. Chiu Xiaoxi was still calm. Time passed, and the afternoon test ended quickly. Many students walked out of the examination room, and no one had a smile on their faces. Today's test paper almost makes people doubt their lives. There are too many questions beyond the syllabus. However, thinking that it is difficult for me and others, it is acceptable. Some students comfort themselves, those questions beyond the syllabus are definitely impossible for others to answer. I don't get any points, and he doesn't get any points either. What I am most afraid of is that I can't answer them, but others can. Today's questions are simple, and no one can answer the difficult ones. Thinking this way is good for me. But when they returned home and watched the news replay while eating, their faces that had originally turned sunny were suddenly covered with haze again. On TV, Chen Mou was interviewed. It's relatively simple. I think in the eyes of us Yonghui High School students, there should be no difficult college entrance examination papers. No way. This news was no less than a bolt from the blue for them. How could such questions be simple? Isn't it unprecedentedly difficult? Could it be that I didn't pay attention to the class and missed these knowledge points? Could it be that the special exercise book they bought has such questions, but I didn't buy it? Could it be that this person's teacher is knowledgeable and has taught this knowledge before, but my teacher didn't teach it? Without caring to continue eating, the students turned on their mobile phones and logged into the famous micro forum on the internet. They saw a lot of complaints about the difficulty of the college entrance examination questions, and they were relieved. But suddenly, they thought of something else. In the eyes of us Yonghui High School students, there should be no difficult college entrance examination papers. What does this sentence mean? Are the teachers of Yonghui High School really so strong that they have taught all these knowledge points? Some students from other schools looked gloomy and immediately contacted the students of Yonghui High School they knew to ask for clarification. Some parents also sighed. I didn't expect Yonghui High School to be so strong. It is worthy of being the leading middle school in Yonghui City. It has been leading the way every year. My eldest son is now in the second grade of junior high school, and he will be in the third grade of junior high school next semester. I still let him apply for Yonghui High School for the high school entrance examination next year, but I don't know if he can be admitted. At Yonghui TV station, Lin Yaohun is worthy of being a model of dedication. After returning from the scene, she hurriedly had a dinner and threw herself into work again. She is going to write a report on the college entrance examination and put it on the official microforum account, public account and other platforms of Yonghui TV station. After thinking about it, Lin Yaohun did not intend to write directly about the grand occasion of today's college entrance examination. That would be too big and empty. This time she planned to write an article with Chen Mou as the center. This was a well-thought-out article. Chen Mou came from an ordinary family, but he won the first place in the written test many times. He was legendary in himself, and his identity could also resonate with people. Today, Chen Mou took the lead twice again, and said that the test questions were very simple, which showed his strength, and contrasted with the online complaints that the questions were too difficult, which was topical. The third point is that Chen Mou said that there should be no difficult test papers in the eyes of people from Yonghui High School. This is related to the level of the school. There is a sense of collective honor, and the school's cultivation grace is not forgotten. Moreover, Yonghui High School was originally the focus of Yonghui citizens this time. With her fingers jumping on the keyboard, Lin Yaohun wrote the title of the article Chen Mou, a poor genius cultivated by Yonghui High School originally. Lin Yaohun wanted to write the title, the first person to walk out of the college entrance examination room. He actually said this. But after thinking about it, she gave up. They are regular media, so it has some meaning of clickbait. She was afraid that the big boss would beat her to death. Many people saw this news interview, and their reactions varied. Duan Feichin snorted coldly, not caring. The college entrance examination will ultimately be based on grades, and submitting the paper quickly does not mean strong strength. Chen Kai muttered to himself, "Is this the world of the strong?" He felt a lot of pressure. He thought today's test questions were difficult, so why did Chen Mou say it was very simple? Moreover, Chen Mou has also made great progress in actual combat recently, which made him unable to understand his strength. In the past, he could easily overwhelm Chen Mou, but now he has to try to know clearly. Su Dao nodded gently. Chen Mou faced the camera calmly, which must be very confident. But Su Dao was not afraid either. He came out later, which did not mean anything. The college entrance examination has never been about to submit the paper quickly. In order to complete today's test paper, Su Dao has used all his strength. In the principal's office of Yanghui High School, the lights were on, and the gray-haired old principal was handling affairs. The old principal's surname was Hu. Those who were not close to him respectfully called him Principal Hu, while those who were more familiar with him directly called him Old Fox. During the college entrance examination, his work was even more arduous, and he had to coordinate and handle official affairs from all parties and make good arrangements. But at this moment, his slightly old face not only did not show fatigue, but was rosy. Yes, immediately post the content of Chen Mou's interview today on our official microforum account, public account, and short video account, and emphasize that in the eyes of Yanghui High School students, there should be no difficult college entrance examination papers. The old principal picked up the phone and was giving instructions. Chapter 34, In the eyes of Yanghui High School students, there is no difficult test paper. What Chen Mou did today is very topical. His speed of submitting papers is the fastest not only in Yanghui City, but also in the whole country. If it is just submitting papers quickly, it is nothing. If you let a poor student, who is determined to hand in a blank paper, his speed is the fastest, but it is useless and will only become a laughingstock. Chen Mou is different. In terms of written examinations, he is one of the best in Yanghui City. Naturally, he submitted the paper after completing all the test questions. When candidates across the country complained about the difficulty of the test paper, our Yanghui High School students said that it was just a small matter. Chen Mou's words greatly highlighted the teaching achievements of Yanghui High School. If the old principal, who is generally smart, does not seize the opportunity to promote it, he is really unworthy of his nickname of Old Fox. Of course, using the official account for promotion is equivalent to being tied to Chen Mou, and they will all prosper and suffer together. If Chen Mou fails in the exam and does not perform well, his remarks today will be dug out and severely slapped in the face, and Yanghui High School will also lose face. But will Chen Mou fail? The old principal certainly does not think that Chen Mou will fail. This is his confidence in judging people. Lin Yadhong was writing a manuscript when she suddenly received praise from the director. It turned out that after consideration, the TV station in East China province was going to broadcast the interview video of Yanghui TV station. The director naturally agreed, as he was their superior, not to mention that this was a rare opportunity to show his face. East China Provincial TV station also thought carefully and investigated Chen Mou's previous performance in detail. If a student who was boastful and had no strength, how could East China Provincial TV station dare to broadcast it? That would be a joke. But Chen Mou's previous performance was more reassuring. Lin Yadhong was stunned at first, and then her hands trembled with excitement. Although the better interview reports of local TV stations may be broadcast by the provincial TV station, the probability is extremely small. Although Lin Yadhong had fantasized about it before, she also knew that it was just a fantasy. Unexpectedly, it has become a reality now. For a moment, Lin Yadhong felt like a pie in the sky. The impact of Chen Mou's incident even spread to the whole country, not just Yanghui City. When all the candidates in the country were shouting that the questions were too difficult, someone actually said that the test paper was simple. Isn't this against them? Compared with the broadcast of the East China Provincial TV station, the influence and spread speed on the internet are greater and faster. Many college entrance examination candidates are very angry with Chen Mou. Originally, they commented and attacked some college entrance examination teachers' microforum accounts, thinking that they only set difficult questions and targeted the candidates. The harder the test paper is, the better it is. A good test paper should be moderate in difficulty. Unexpectedly, these teachers actually pulled Chen Mou as a shield. You see, the questions we set are quite simple. People handed in the papers so quickly, and they also said in the interview that they were relatively simple. In fact, these teachers also felt that it was inappropriate. It was indeed too difficult, but at this juncture, they could not admit it, otherwise they would be criticized. The college entrance examination candidates were so angry that they wanted to vent their grievances, but they didn't expect these teachers to have so many reasons. They wanted to attack Chen Mou, but after searching for a long time, they found that Chen Mou had not registered any forum account. They had to let their anger accumulate in their chests, leave a few harsh words, and pick up the book to review tomorrow's content. Anyway, time is still flowing. In a blink of an eye, it is the second day again. Today is also the last day of the written examination. Before entering the examination room, the candidates were nervous. Would the test paper be so difficult again? However, the college entrance examination is not difficult for students. The probability of all difficult questions is not high. The difficulty of the questions on the second morning was obviously reduced. Although there are difficult questions, they are moderately difficult. There are simple questions and slightly difficult questions. These difficult questions can be solved after careful thinking. It is not like yesterday, when I felt I understand, I will pack up and leave as soon as I saw the questions. Although Chen Mou did it very quickly in this exam, it was not him who came out first, but a candidate from Yonghui No. 1 Middle School. According to the previous school test results, the written test score of this candidate is in the top 10 of Yonghui No. 1 Middle School. Although Chen Mou was not the first to come out, he was still pulled by reporters for an interview. After all, he was the topic of the past 2 days and the focus of attention. In the eyes of us Yonghui High School people, there should be no difficult college entrance examination papers. Chen Mou said seriously. The reporters were stunned. Why is it always the same sentence? Isn't there anything new? On the afternoon of July 2nd, the last written test of the college entrance examination began. The test time was scheduled for 2.5 hours. In fact, there are still a few students who can hand in their papers in advance. Most students feel that the time is just enough, and a small number of students feel that the time is not enough. Outside the examination room, reporters and students' parents are waiting anxiously, feeling that time is passing too slowly. Most of the candidates in the venue feel that time is passing too fast, and they wish they could use 1 second as 2 seconds. Chen Mou came out in 6th place this time. A group of netizens have gathered in the live broadcast room. In name, they are watching the live broadcast of the college entrance examination and paying attention to current affairs, but in fact, they are all here for Chen Mou. After a long wait, Chen Mou finally walked out slowly. Interview Chen Mou quickly. Netizens in the live broadcast room left a message. Here he comes, he's going to say that famous saying. A netizen seemed very excited. That's right, these people have waited for so long, not for anything else, just to wait for Chen Mou to say that classic line. If you ask what made them persist for more than an hour and wait bitterly, maybe it was because they had nothing to do. The reporters had no intention of interviewing Chen Mou. Interviewing the same person every time would inevitably lose its freshness. They might as well interview more students who handed in their papers later, as those people could truly represent the group of college entrance examination candidates. What's more, Chen Mou always said the same thing, which was really empty talk, cliches, and nonsense. But there was no way. The audience in the live broadcast room left messages frantically, asking to interview Chen Mou. As a reporter, you still have to report something that the people like to hear and see. So the reporters walked up reluctantly and pointed the microphone at Chen Mou. In the eyes of us Yonghui High School students, there should be no difficult college entrance examination papers. The online live broadcast room suddenly boiled. Countless messages and barrages directly covered the entire screen. Photo of classic lines. A new generation of king of forcing is born. Famous scene. Time passed, 2.5 hours passed quickly, and the written test stage of the college entrance examination finally came to an end. Many people breathed a sigh of relief. After all, there are only a few people who are good at both literature and martial arts. Some people have good martial arts skills, but their written test level is really average. These 2 days were really difficult for them, but now they have finally made it. But in these 2 short days, a famous saying has been widely circulated in Yonghui City and has become a household name. In the eyes of us at Yonghui High School, there should be no difficult college entrance examination papers. The influence of this sentence even lasted for 5 or 6 years, and more parents tended to let their children apply for Yonghui High School. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 National Talents. July 3rd. After 2 days, the written test is over, and the next step is the practical test. The practical test is obviously much more troublesome to organize than the written test. All aspects must be arranged in place. Unlike the written test, students are arranged to enter the examination room and then a few papers are issued. The practical test needs to spend some time on the venue arrangement. During this test process, how to ensure the safety of students, how to keep records, and how to score correctly. All these need to be considered from all aspects. For the media in Yonghua City, the actual combat is the highlight, because they can broadcast the whole process of students taking the practical test. No matter how popular the written test is, it can never compare with the actual combat. The written test is closed throughout the process of the test. Reporters are not allowed to enter or shoot. If you want to interview, you can only do it when entering and exiting. These restrictions are too great. What's more, the audience can't see what the written test is, and they can't empathize. But the actual combat is different. The actual combat has a variety of test items. I heard that on the last day, students will be arranged to fight and compete with each other. These can be broadcasted in full. In the past, the actual test of the college entrance examination had not received such great attention, but after years of development, it has gradually evolved into a national event. During this process, even some foreign media and intelligence departments will invest some personnel to pay attention and record. The strength of the college entrance examination candidates is certainly not too strong, but they are all the future talents of the country. Those who perform well in the college entrance examination will definitely be the focus of attention. Maybe among these people, there will be a strong man who guards the country in a Hall of Fame-like figure. This is a bit like the Olympics thousands of years ago, which is an important means for the country to show its comprehensive strength. After thousands of years of development, scientific and technological progress, the development of things such as nutrient solution, and the spread of various cultivation methods, students now can lift hundreds of kilograms of weights and run to catch up with cars, which is stronger than the previous Olympic athletes. However, the Olympic athletes thousands of years ago were the top group of people in the country at that time, and the current college entrance examination candidates may become the pillars of the country in the future, but at this moment they are nothing in the eyes of the real strong. The fact that the current college entrance examination candidates can have stronger strength than the Olympic athletes is also due to the progress of the times. This is the most terrifying part of the turn of the times. It is not the rise of one or two people, but the overall prosperity. On the large playground of Yonghua High School, many students gathered and lined up neatly. Although the strictness was not as good as that of a military formation, it was not far behind. 30 or 40 examiners from other places, as well as a dozen chief examiners, were making arrangements for various instruments and venues on the spot, and the staff of Yonghua High School were also helping to coordinate the work. This playground was extremely vast and was divided into more than a dozen venues. One by one, weightlifting instruments and speed measuring instruments were transported and placed in the venues. At this moment, the school leaders on the high platforms around the playground stood up at the same time and looked in one direction. Chen Mou noticed this detail and was moved. It was estimated that a big shot had appeared, otherwise these school leaders would not have such an attitude. Sure enough, a strange middle-aged man slowly walked up to the high platform from the stairs below. Behind him, the gray-haired principal who and another middle-aged man followed closely. The middle-aged man was relatively unfamiliar to some students, but Chen Mou had seen him several times. He was a big leader of the Yonghua Municipal Education Department. His surname was Wang, and he had awarded Chen Mou a prize. In the past, this leader Wang always stood in the most conspicuous position, surrounded by people, but now he could only follow behind the middle-aged man in front of him, and his aura was completely suppressed. Instructor Li, these are the students who came to participate in the actual test of the college entrance examination today. They are all waiting for arrangements below. Principal Hu said respectfully in front of the middle-aged man. These students come from various schools, not all of them are students of Yonghua High School. At this moment, these students are arranged according to the venue number and order obtained by drawing lots, and each finds their own position and waits. Instructor Li looked down and nodded slightly. These students were condensed in spirit, standing in neat postures, and their overall strength was good. Since Instructor Li appeared, many students on the playground have felt a heavy pressure coming towards them. These students are all strong and can lift thousands of pounds, but at this moment they feel heavy in their bodies, as if they were under a mountain of pressure. Instructor Li also noticed this situation, was slightly stunned, and then restrained his breath, and the students felt relieved. This person is so strong. Chen Mou looked up, and Instructor Li's every move showed a taste that was in line with the law. With his casual movements and an invincible aura, he suppressed everyone without even noticing. Is Chen Mou taking the exam here today? This student is too flamboyant, which is not good. Instructor Li said to Principal Hu lightly. Principal Hu's heart tightened. Instructor Li was a big shot sent by the province to supervise the exam. If he had any opinions about Chen Mou, it would be a great disadvantage. With his status, he naturally would not care too much about Chen Mou, let alone take the initiative to target Chen Mou. He came here to ensure the fairness of the college entrance examination. But if this word got out, it would have some impact. Principal Hu hurriedly explained, I know this student Chen Mou. He comes from an ordinary family and is tough and low-key in his daily life. Although it has caused heated discussions in the past few days, it was not his intention. Those interviews were also initiated by reporters. Yet, Instructor Li nodded without comment. Chen Mou was below, so naturally he could not hear the conversation between them. Suddenly, Chen Mou's eyes moved and saw Zhang Xingteng, whose hair was slightly sparse, appeared below the platform and walked along the stairs towards Instructor Li. Li Xingming, long time no see. Zhang Xingteng walked in front of the three people on the podium, greeted the instructor first, and then nodded to the other two, Director Wang, Principal Hu. It's Xingteng, I didn't expect to meet you here. This is unexpected, but also reasonable. Instructor Li's face changed slightly, but soon returned to normal. Principal Hu and the leader surnamed Wang were both moved. They didn't expect Zhang Xingteng to know this Instructor Li. One is an instructor sent by the province, and the other is an ordinary high school teacher. The status of the two is very different. But Instructor Li not only did not show an arrogant look, but was faintly afraid. Li Xingming said, I heard that you returned to your hometown to teach here before, but I didn't believe it. A few days ago, my family came back by chance. Knowing that I came here to supervise the exam, he also mentioned this matter to me. Then I knew that the matter turned out to be true. When talking about the Li family, Li Xingming was vague, but a look of respect flashed across his face. Zhang Xingteng said, you know my situation. I have no future, so I have no choice but to return to my hometown and do my part for education. Li Xingming's body relaxed slightly after hearing this, but then a strong fear flashed in his eyes. According to his past experience, he only needs to believe half of Zhang Xingteng's words. If he believes them all, he is a fool. Okay, I won't say more to you. I came here to see the performance of my students. You know Chen Mou, he is very famous these days. He was taught by me. Zhang Xingteng didn't want to talk about the past, so he turned to talk about the college entrance examination. Li Xingming's breath was choked, and an embarrassed look flashed across his face. He had just criticized Chen Mou. By the way, what do you think of Chen Mou as a student? Zhang Xingteng asked again. Chen Mou, he is a good student. Our country needs such talents. Chapter 36, Actual Combat Test begins. On the platform, Instructor Li's voice spread everywhere. There was no loudspeaker, but every word was clear. Students, today is the first day of the practical test. The test content is strength and speed test. Everyone, take your place and enter your own test area according to the arrangement on the admission ticket distributed before. The instructor announced the content of today's test, which was kept secret before today, and the confidentiality level was top secret. It is said to be top secret, which is almost a routine item in the college entrance examination. Everyone can guess it. What content will be tested in the next few days is the key. There are 2,000 or 3,000 students on the playground of Yanghui High School now, but it does not seem crowded. The entire playground is divided into more than a dozen areas. Each student follows the instructions and enters the assigned test area. Everything goes in an orderly manner. Instructor Li, Principal Hu, Leader Wang, and Teacher Zhang sat down on the seats on the platform. At this time, light and shadow flashed on other seats on the platform, and people formed by light appeared one by one. At first, You can still see the illusion of light and shadow, and then gradually solidify, just like a living person. The audience entered. These audiences are of all kinds. There are officials, entrepreneurs, teachers, etc. Some of them bought tickets to come in. Yes, if you want to watch the actual test of the college entrance examination candidates in person, you have to buy tickets, otherwise you can only watch the broadcast online or on TV. This is a bit like the Olympics or basketball and football games. These audiences did not come here in person. They were either at work or at home, wearing holographic simulation helmets, and then directly connected to the instruments installed on the high seats. The human figures constructed by these light and shadows are very realistic, and they can talk and interact with each other, just like the audience wearing helmets at home who came here in person. Buying a ticket means buying a qualification to connect to the high platform instruments. Of course, you can also come here in person instead of using instruments, but the experience is basically the same. Everything you perceive after wearing a helmet is no different from being at the scene in person. It can be said that there are no audiences who are here in person today. All of them are using holographic simulation helmets. The more technology develops, the lazier people become. In ancient times, there was no water to drink, so people carried water by themselves. Now there is running water. Who still carries water? It's called a real battle, but there is no confrontation today, just a simple test, so there are still plenty of tickets, and there is no need to fight for them. On the last day of the real battle, it was hard to get a ticket, and scalpers directly raised the ticket price several times. After about 10 minutes of arrangement, everyone was ready, and the test was about to begin. Several major media in Yonghua City also took their positions. Some arranged people to choose a good position on the high platform for shooting, and some took pictures at a closer position, switching multiple angles. Today's photographic equipment is very advanced. Even on the high platform, hundreds of meters away, the shooting is still very clear, as if it is right in front of you. Not only Yonghua High School, but also other schools are in a similar situation. The official websites of several media have put up several schools' live broadcast rooms at the same time, which can be switched at will. In the past 10 minutes, there was both maintenance of order and explanation of the rules by examiners. The assessment method is similar to that of Chen Mou in the test hall, but it is more detailed. The weightlifting barbell used by students can be accurate to 1 kilogram. For the test hall, it generally only supports increases in units of 10 kilograms. In today's test, the students themselves asked for the weight of the barbells, and the staff adjusted the weight of the barbells by adding or removing barbell plates. Because of the limited time, students cannot repeat the test. Each person only has 3 chances, and the test result is the best of the 3 times. This is a bit of a test of the students' understanding of themselves. If the weight is too low, it cannot reflect their own results. If the weight is too high, the test cannot be completed. In addition, there is another difference from the test hall, which is the addition of a strength test instrument, which can measure the strength of the student's full strength punch. Walking 20 meters with a barbell is endurance, and hitting the instrument with all your strength is explosive power. The two are different. Generally speaking, explosive power is much higher than endurance. When 2 people fight, 1 punch and 1 kick are extremely destructive, which is a typical explosive power. Chen Mou estimates that his current endurance is about 950 kilograms. There is no condition to test explosive power, but it is estimated to be more than 1,500 kilograms. The speed test is easy to do. Just like the test hall, run 50 meters and use precision instruments to measure it. Chen Mou took a look and found that he was arranged in the 7th area, which seemed to be in the middle of the order. First place, Hu Anfu, step out and prepare for the test. First place, Chen Keiji. First place, Liao Zhangzi. The examiners on the field began to call out the names. As for why there were 3 first places, it was because the 7th district was divided into 3 teams, each of which was in charge of 3 examiners. In addition, there was a chief examiner in the 7th district, who was responsible for controlling the entire situation. Hu Anfu, Chen Keiji, and Liao Zhangzi each stepped out of the line, all with a bit of nervousness. However, they quickly suppressed their emotions and managed to remain calm. 623 kg, 537 kg, 553 kg. The 3 of them reported the weight they wanted to test, and the 3 examiners and several teachers sent by the school to assist immediately operated the barbell and adjusted the value. Xiaoyu, look, those people are so weak, 2 of them, less than 600 kilograms, Don't they not even reach the beginner level? The strongest one is only about 600 kilograms. Zhang Xiaotong sat on the high platform, pointed in the direction of the 7th district, and said to a girl next to her. During the college entrance examination, the first and second year students of high school were on holiday. Many students were paying attention to the college entrance examination and felt the atmosphere of their future exams in advance. Zhang Xiaotong did not sit with Zhang Xingten. In fact, she was at home, wearing a holographic simulation helmet. The virtual person on the stage was constructed by light and shadow, while Zhang Xingten, Instructor Li and the other 4 were real people. Xiao was in the same situation as Zhang Xiaotong. Hearing this, she rolled her eyes at her and said unhappily, "Isn't this normal? 600 kilograms has reached the standard of a Zhuan's. There are many people who have not reached the Zhuan's level before graduating from the 3rd year of high school. Don't think that Zhuan's is too cheap." Although I couldn't hear the weight reported by the 3 students in the 7th district, I could roughly estimate it by looking at the number of barbell plates on the barbell. What's more, I was wearing a holographic simulation helmet. Not only did I feel like I was there in person, but I could also use the device on the high platform to obtain some data. With a thud, the weight of the barbell was detected directly. As she said this, Xiao became melancholy. She didn't have the strength of 600 kilograms. Although I am still in the 2nd year of high school, I am very confident that I can reach this standard in the 3rd year of high school, but it is hard to say how much I can improve in the end. Although 600 kilograms is not bad, at least it can rank in the top 10,000 in the province, and it is not a problem to get into a key university, but it is still difficult to get into the top batch of famous universities. For a true genius, 600 kilograms is just the starting point. I reached 600 kilograms of strength a month ago, and my speed also broke 50 meters per second. I became a mysterious person, and the country also subsidizes me 3,000 yuan every month. Zhang Xiaotong couldn't help but show off proudly. I know you are amazing. Drinking so much nutrient solution every day, be careful of indigestion and become a big fat man. Xiao's eyelids rolled up. Zhang Xiaotong heard this and didn't take it seriously at first, but then a little worry surged up. It shouldn't be. The figure of this school beauty has been perfect since childhood, and she won't get fat no matter how much she eats. The endurance test is over, and now it's the turn of the explosive power test. Xiao suddenly pointed in the direction of the 7th district. Sure enough, the 3 of them all walked 20 meters with a barbell, and then walked to an instrument in their team to prepare for the explosive power test. Thanks to Endless 999 for his recommendation votes all the time, and thanks to Love Eternal for his 13 votes today. It was the last day of National Day, and the holiday passed so quickly, but this year's military parade was wonderful. Chapter 37, The skills are only here, seeking recommendations and investments. 3 students stood in front of the test instrument, concentrating and calming their minds, sinking their center of gravity, and firmly grasping the ground with their feet. With their waist and horse together, their 5 fingers clenched into fists, and their torsos were on one side, using their waist strength to drive their arms. Their long arms thrust out like spears, and a fist fell like a meteor. This punch was quite imposing, not only because of the fist strength, but also the waist strength, and the whole body's strength was concentrated on the fist. With a bang, the fist hit the instrument hard, causing it to shake slightly. 851 kg. A dazzling number appeared on the instrument. This value was achieved by the student who reached 553 kilograms in the endurance test just now, which was quite satisfactory. He stood still again and threw 2 punches, but it was not as high as this value. In the end, he took the highest score of 851 kilograms among the 3 times. This man had a little regret on his face, but then he breathed a sigh of relief. Before the college entrance examination really came, he had already known his strength, and it was good to achieve such a result. The other 2 also finished the test, one 802 kilograms and the other 928 kilograms, and they did not perform abnormally. The 3 of them left the stage. They had nothing to do with the morning test, as the speed test would not begin until the afternoon. These people are really worse than the other. On the high platform, Xiao couldn't stand it anymore. The 3 people in the 7th district performed well, while the students in other districts performed more averagely. After the 3 students in the 7th district left the stage, the next student's performance was even more mediocre. Zhang Xiaotong yawned, looking bored, but she also understood that this was the level of most students, and only a few could be considered strong. Xiaotong, why did you insist on dragging me to Yanghui High School? I should have gone to Yanghui No. 1 High School to watch the test. I also want to see how senior sister Chu Xiaoxi performs. Xiaoi muttered. What's so good about Chu Xiaoxi? I just want to see how senior brother Chen Mou performs. My dad often asks me to learn from him. Although I feel that I am the best, senior brother Chen Mou's performance in the written test 2 days ago was really domineering, showing the style of our Yanghui High School. Zheng Xiaotong also fantasized that one day, she would be the first to walk out of the examination room, looking down on the world as if it were nothing, and proudly said, I can do 10 such questions, no, 10 sets. Senior brother Chen Mou is in the middle, I don't know how long it will take to take turns. Xiaohui was depressed, but she soon figured out a way. She took out her mobile phone at home, opened the live broadcast room, and switched to the picture of Yanghui No. 1 Middle School. On the high platform around the playground of Yanghui High School, Xiaoyu, who was constructed by light and shadow, also had an extra mobile phone in her hand. At first, Xiaoyu was proud of her idea and felt that she was very smart. But after watching for a while, when the close-up shot was given to Chu Xiaoxi, Xiaoyu realized that Chu Xiaoxi was in the middle and back position, and it was estimated that he would be on the stage later than Chen Mou. Finally, Xiaoyu had no choice but to continue to pay attention to the test of Yanghui High School. After all, this was a scene constructed by simulation technology, which was completely immersive and more impactful than watching the pictures on the mobile phone. There were more than a dozen test areas in Yanghui High School, and not all of them were weak. From time to time, masters emerged. Several masters with strengths of 850 kilograms and 910 kilograms appeared, causing a wave of waves. Their explosive power even broke through the level of 1 ton. In the fifth area, Duan's Hengcheng came on stage and reported the test standard of 1,050 kilograms, which attracted everyone's attention. Zheng Xiaotong and Xiaoyu's eyes were also attracted. This is Duan's Hengcheng. I heard that he is in the same class with Chu Xiaoxi and is the second best in the class. Many spectators whispered to each other. Although the students in front were also strong, there had been no amazing figures. Finally, it was the turn of a strong one, which naturally attracted attention. Not only that, he is also one of the top 10 masters of Yanghui High School, and he is very strong. I heard that Duan Feichin from Chengbai No. 1 Middle School also came here to take the test. When he was interviewed, he only admitted the strength of Chu Xiaoxi and Su Dao, and was very disdainful of the other top 10 masters. Some viewers laughed happily, hoping that the world would not be in chaos. Although Duan Feichin's words are a little arrogant, they are not without reason. After all, he is the top master of Chengbai No. 1 Middle School. Apart from Chu Xiaoxi and Su Dao, it is difficult for Yanghui High School to find someone who can compete with him. The examiner of the 5th district quickly adjusted the barbell to 1,050 kilograms. On the high platform, almost all eyes were attracted to him, wanting to see if he could achieve this goal. 1,050 kilograms was the number he reported and wanted to test. If he passed the test, this would be his score. If he failed, he would naturally have to lower the standard and test again. Duan Hengcheng warmed up a little, bent his knees and bent over, grabbed the barbell with both hands, and walked forward 10 meters, 15 meters, 18 meters, 19 meters. Duan Hengcheng walked more and more difficultly, his muscles were tense, and his body was shaking slightly, but he finally finished 20 meters. 1,050 kg. The examiner took out a machine and entered Duan Hengcheng's score on it. After resting for 30 seconds, Duan Hengcheng walked to the test instrument and stood still to start the explosive power test. At this moment, his condition has not fully recovered. He is slightly out of breath and his muscles are a little sore, which makes people doubt whether he can play at the highest level. But this is the rule of the college entrance examination. Each person can only rest for 30 seconds. The time of the college entrance examination is very tight, and there is not so much time for you to rest. But on second thought, this is also deliberately arranged by the college entrance examination. If you choose a too heavy barbell in the first test, it will naturally affect the subsequent test results. Everyone can only rest for 30 seconds, which will not affect fairness. This involves a trade-off. If you want to get a high score in the explosive power test, then you can choose a slightly lighter weight in the endurance test. In addition, this also examines the student's recovery ability. Whoever can recover the fastest within 30 seconds will naturally have a high comprehensive score. Hurry up and start, don't delay. The examiner urged. He had to strictly ensure fairness. He was supervising the students, and the chief examiner and various monitoring facilities were also supervising him. If he was found to be unfair, he would be punished. After 30 seconds, stand in front of the test instrument, and then prepare for the force for a maximum of 10 seconds before making the move. Duan Zhangchang no longer hesitated after hearing this, and exerted force with his whole body. The whole person was like a big bow, and the force was poured into his arms. With a hissing sound, the air was cut, and the right fist shot onto the test instrument like a long arrow on a big bow. There was a violent collision, and the test instrument shook violently, and the value was displayed on it. 1,722 kg. The audience was in an uproar. This was the highest value on the playground of Yanghui High School. The title of the top 10 masters was not exaggerated. In the third area, Duan Fechen in the crowd had an icy smile on his face, which was not noticed. My skills only limit here. Chapter 38 Chen Kai's Strength. Next, Chen Kai. In the fifth area, not long after Duan Zhangchang finished the test, it was soon Chen Kai's turn. The tall and majestic Chen Kai walked in front of the examiner, and his mountain-like body gave people a sense of oppression. This sense of oppression did not work on the examiner with strong strength, but it made the examiner nod secretly. Although being tall does not necessarily mean being strong, it is not weak either. 1,300 kg. Chen Kai reported a number. This time, the examiner looked at Chen Kai in surprise. 1,300 kilograms is the highest value in the field. Does the student really have such strength? However, he did not ask more questions. Together with the staff sent by the school to assist, he added a few barbell plates to the barbell and adjusted it to 1,300 kilograms. At the beginning, although there were people on the podium who paid attention to Chen Kai, there were not many. Chen Kai usually ranked in the top 10 and close to the 20th in the school, which was still a little worse than the top 10 masters in the school. But soon someone noticed that the barbell in front of Chen Kai was adjusted to 1,300 kilograms. Is this senior crazy? A sophomore student said in disbelief. He knew something about Chen Kai. He was not weak, but he could not be among the top 10 masters. Qi Wencheng, who ranked low among the top 10 masters in the school, was about 1,000 kilograms strong. Chen Kai, who ranked close to 20th, challenged 1,300 kilograms directly. A noisy voice sounded, and the audience on the high platform looked sideways. Is he really strong, or is he just trying to attract attention? Chen Kai smiled. In the written test 2 days ago, Chen Mou had taken all the limelight. He had no choice but to admit his defeat. But today, he was no longer low-key. He and Chen Mou were friends, but they were competing with each other, which was also a way to promote each other. Chen Kai grabbed a barbell with both hands, lifted it up directly, and walked forward. His bones and muscles were tough, his muscles were like a dragon, and his blood was flowing in his body. He was still not too slow to lift this 1,300 kilograms weight. If you use a special detection instrument to observe, you can also see that his blood is faintly purple, but it is not visible on the surface of the body. Did he use the power of miracle? Instructor Li stood up. Because the distance was too far, even with his strength, he had to observe carefully before he could judge. The power of miracle is not something that a beginner can master. At least a miracle apprentice can master a little of this power. Using the power of miracle, you can strengthen yourself and lift heavy objects that you couldn't lift before. During the battle, a punch and a kick will have greater destructive power. If this person used the power of miracle and lifted 1,300 kilograms, it would not be too surprising. If this person is still in the beginner's realm and has reached the level of 1,300 kilograms, it would be a bit amazing. A genius among geniuses. Zhang Xingtang was also observing. I didn't feel the fluctuation of the power of miracle. This person is really gifted. It seems that I have to report this situation. Instructor Li was moved. As for reporting, of course it was only reported to Xinghua Academy. After all, he has some relationship with Xinghua Academy. For the other 3 schools, forget it. It's best if they don't know. Is this, the power of blood appears, the physique changes. Chen Mou watched from a distance, and the fragments of Chen Kai in the future memory flashed. Chen Kai's physique is not simple. It is called the power of blood, but it is not inherited from parents, but an extremely rare mutation between heaven and earth. This physique is called Daoine War Body, and it has a place in the universe. However, Chen Kai has only slightly shown a trace of the power of Daoying War body, less than 1/1000th. In the future, this physique needs to be tempered and the blood needs to be purified before it can truly show its energy. This process is not a simple thing. In the flash of thought, Chen Kai has walked more than half of the distance and did not show any signs of fatigue. This person is amazing. He may be a dark horse of Yonghui High School. The audience was shocked. Chen Kai has already walked half of the distance with a 1,300 kilograms barbell. Judging from his performance, it is not difficult to complete the remaining half. Even if he really can't finish it, his strength is definitely above 1,200 kilograms. 1 step, 2 steps, Chen Kai walked steadily and reached the finish line easily. Chen Kai, 1,300 kilograms. The examiner nodded and recorded the result in the instrument. He also saw that Chen Kai still had a lot of physical strength and was not too tired. He thought he would be able to achieve good results in the next explosive test. After a 30-second rest, Chen Kai came to the front of the test instrument, shouted, twisted his body and bent his elbow. His fist hit the instrument with a hint of destructive breath. 2,370 kg. The examiner looked at the reading on the instrument and announced. As he said that, the examiner frowned. The instrument was a little broken. It had experienced some students' tests before, and now it was almost scrapped by Chen Kai's fierce punch. However, he was prepared and calmly called the staff to replace the instrument with a new one. During the process of replacing the instrument, the whole audience was in an uproar. The power of 2,370 kilograms exceeded everyone's imagination. This was a power beyond 2 tons. Although some students were also Zuans, they only had a sustained force of more than 600 kilograms and an explosive force of no more than 1 ton, which was far from Chen Kai. They are all senior high school students, but their strengths are twice as different. This is still a numerical value. If they really fight, even if they come 10, they can't beat Chen Kai. After all, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. So far, Chen Kai is the one with the best score in the Yonghui High School examination area. According to this result, I'm afraid he is the third best player in the school after Chiu Xiaoxi and Su Dao. Many people's eyes are on Duan Feichen, the top master of Chenbei No. 1 Middle School, and they secretly compared Duan Feichen with Chen Kai. Duan Feichen's face also became solemn. This kind of strength is not worse than his. But it's useless. He has broken through to the realm of miracle appresentis. The power of miracle is something Chen Kai can't contend with. If he fights in actual combat in the future, he will let Chen Kai understand his insignificance. In the eyes of everyone's attention, it was soon Duan Feichen's turn to test. 1,500 kg. Duan Feichen stepped forward and reported the value he wanted. Soon, the barbell was adjusted. Many eyes were watching Duan Feichen's performance when he came on the stage. After receiving the weight data from the simulation device, they were even more shocked. 1,500 kilograms, 200 kilograms higher than Chen Kai's value. Some students in the first and second grades of Yonghui High School felt nervous. Not long ago, Su Dao was tested and lifted 1,500 kilograms. Su Dao's performance broke the school record, which shocked the world. They didn't expect Duan Feichen to have this ability. Breaking the record is not a simple matter. It represents the highest achievement of students since the establishment of the high school. Although Chiu Xiaoxi has always been hailed as the top master, she has not been tested recently, and no one knows whether she has been surpassed by these two. Chapter 39 Breaking Records. Duan Feichen went on stage calmly and grabbed the barbell with both hands. A strange wave rose up from his body. Ordinary students could not feel it, but Instructor Li and others on the high platform were able to see it clearly and noticed it at the first time. This is the power of miracles. The power of miracles can strengthen the body, make it extremely powerful, and make it hard and resistant to swords. It is said that the power of miracles can even bring the dead back to life, cure terminally ill patients, and prolong the life of the elderly when it reaches a deeper level. However, this level can only be displayed by miracle masters, and many miracle masters are unwilling to do it, and they must spend a lot of money to invite them. This kind of life-threatening thing is not so easy to do, and there is always a price to pay. On the field, Duan Feichen has lifted the barbell and walked several meters away. In fact, it is still difficult for his body to bear the weight of 1,500 kilograms, but with the power of miracles, his body is strengthened with infinite power and tough bones, so it is not difficult to lift the barbell. This is not considered cheating, It is originally his own strength, and cheating is considered to be using external force. The 20-meter distance was completed quickly. Duan Fechen put down the barbell. This distance was not difficult for him. He still had some spare strength to test his explosive power. Duan Fechen and Chen Kai were in different areas, but the test equipment in his area wore out faster and was now replaced with a new one. The miraculous power surged in Duan Fechen's body, and infinite power condensed on his fist. With one punch, the instrument shook violently. 2,521 kg. The examiner was also a little shocked. There were really many talented students in Yonghui City, and they were not weaker than some big cities. This student is quite strong. Instructor Li affirmed. In fact, in the instructor's mind, Chen Kai was still better than Duan Fechen. After all, Duan Fechen used the miraculous power to achieve this result, while Chen Kai had not yet broken through and had not used the miraculous power. This means that Chen Kai has stronger potential. Of course, potential is not equal to strength. If the two fight, Chen Kai will lose. The media around the platform have already captured Duan Fechen's performance. TV stations, live broadcast rooms and other media broadcasts have set off a frenzy. Chen Kai's performance had already attracted many viewers to the live broadcast room of Yonghui High School, and now Duan Fechen's invincible posture made the audience even more excited. The students of Chenbei No. 1 Middle School were excited. Too strong, this is the invincible senior brother Duan. I heard that Sudeo was tested in Yonghui High School before, and he also scored 1,500 kilograms, but I don't know how much explosive power he has. Yonghui High School has always been very arrogant, claiming to be the No. 1 middle school in Yonghui City, but our Chenbei No. 1 middle school is no worse than him. Yonghui High School has Chu Xiaoxi and Sudeo. These two have always suppressed our Chenbei No. 1 middle school, but I think Sudeo's strength is at most equal to senior brother Duan, and we have to fight to know who will win. How strong can Chu Xiaoxi, a girl, be? It's not that I look down on girls, but girls are naturally at a disadvantage in strength, which is a fact that must be acknowledged. The students of Chenbei No. 1 middle school were ecstatic. After being suppressed by Yonghui High School for so many years, they finally got to be proud of themselves. Sustained strength of 1,500 kilograms, explosive force of 2,521 kilograms, not only broke the school record, but also broke the college entrance examination record of Yonghui City for many years. Just think about it, Yonghui High School has always been the leader in Yonghui City. It has been the first for decades. Breaking the record of Yonghui High School is equivalent to breaking the city record. This is a historic moment. While broadcasting live, many media took out some special camera equipment, turned on the flash, and recorded this scene. They have already thought about it. They must write a perfect report when they go back tonight. This is a hot spot, enough to attract the attention of the whole city. Duan Fechen finished the test and began to leave. During the whole process, he behaved very calmly. Although he was happy about his record-breaking performance, he did not show it too much. This made many people nod secretly. He is strong but not arrogant and calm. This is a person who can accomplish great things. This child is not a thing in the pond. Several middle-aged people with slightly plump bodies sighed. These middle-aged people are all very prestigious figures in Yonghui City. They are corporate bosses with a net worth of hundreds of millions. They came here today to watch the college entrance examination. On the one hand, they wanted to relax themselves after work, and on the other hand, they also wanted to get to know young talents and make friends with them if they have the opportunity in the future. These people did not dare to look down on Duan Fechen. This young man's current status is definitely not comparable to theirs, but he has unlimited potential and may surpass them at any time. In today's society, it is good to have money, but the real right to speak is still in the hands of those with strength. Although Duan Fechen left the venue, he did not walk out of the examination room and return home, but watched the next test on the side. The eyes of the whole audience followed him and moved slowly. For a while, other students who were taking the test on the field were forgotten in the corner. Some students were unwilling to give up. They thought they were also the pride of heaven, but they were completely ignored at this moment. They clenched their fists and glared at Duan Fechen, but then they became depressed and sighed softly. No matter how unwilling they were, the gap in strength was there, and they might not even be able to take on a few moves from Duan Fechen. However, this situation did not last long. First, the media got the news and started a commotion. Then, the news spread from one person to another, and then spread to 100 people. The audience also heard something. The human body constructed by light and shadow showed a mobile phone in his hand. Su Dao has started the test. These viewers took out their mobile phones just to switch the live broadcast room screen and watch the screen of Su Dao's test at Chen Mou No. 1 Middle School. I want to see how much your strength has improved now. Duan Feichen sneered in his heart. In the past, Duan Feichen and Su Dao had fought and lost several times. He always regarded this as a great shame. But now, he has the confidence to defeat Su Dao. It's a pity that he, who was studying at Chen Mou No. 1 Middle School, came to Yanghui High School for the test, while Su Dao, who was studying at Yanghui High School, went to Chen Mou No. 1 Middle School for the test. The two were perfectly staggered, which made us sigh at the wonderful arrangement of fate. Duan Feichen took out his mobile phone and switched to the screen of Chen Mou No. 1 Middle School. Familiar playground, familiar people, in the center of the screen, it was Su Dao. However, soon, Duan Feichen's face changed. 1,600 kg. This is the value reported by Su Dao. According to Su Dao's request, the examiner adjusted the barbell to 1,600 kilograms. Su Dao lifted the heavy load and stepped forward. His figure was like a god or demon, shocking people. The distance of 20 meters was not too difficult for Su Dao, and he soon reached the finish line. 30 seconds later, Su Dao hit the tester with supreme power and got a score of 2,728 kilograms, which instantly made the netizens watching the live broadcast boil. Duan Feichen's face turned pale, and he remembered the fear of being dominated by Su Dao again. Chapter 40 Demonic Power. Countless audiences were shocked. They were just immersed in Duan Feichen's achievements and were amazed. They didn't expect that Su Dao would tell everyone who is the real overlord as soon as he made a move. At this moment, Duan Feichen seemed to be Su Dao's foil. Duan Feichen was not weak. His strength was at least in the top 3 in the city. If it was in previous years, his strength was enough to win the title of Yanghui City College Entrance Examination Champion. After all, the strength shown by Duan Feichen was record-breaking, that is to say, the strength of any college entrance examination candidate in previous years could not match him. But now, during the written test, Duan Feichen was overshadowed by Chen Mou. He thought he could show his heroic posture in actual combat, but he was suppressed by Su Dao again. Duan Feichen is not bad, but he was born in the wrong era. The media in Yanghui City were originally going to report the news of Duan Feichen breaking the record, but now they can only give up this idea. Although Duan Feichen broke the record he created was broken by Su Dao again. It can be said that he is the worst record holder. The audience of Chen Mou No. 1 Middle School sighed that it was a good decision to buy tickets this time. They didn't spend much money to see such an amazing scene in person. In the next college entrance examination, there may not be such a shocking scene. Chu Xiaoxi, Su Dao, and Duan Feichen, these 3 people are the leading figures in any class, but they all appeared in the same era, giving people a sense of convergence. The audience of Yanghui High School did not have many regrets, as Duan Feichen's performance was still very amazing. Senior brother Su Dao is really strong. Xiao's eyes were full of stars. Zheng Xiaotuang patted Xiao, stop being crazy, Su Dao is just an ice cube, silent all day, occasionally speaking a word, can make people angry to death. Strong is strong. That's true. Zheng Xiaotuang also had to admit Su Dao's strength. I just don't know why Su Dao has always been suppressed by Chu Xiaoxi. Is Chu Xiaoxi's strength really that terrifying? This woman is not a human, but a witch. We can't look at her with human eyes. Xiao whispered while looking around, as if afraid of being heard by Chu Xiaoxi. Xiao, what nonsense are you talking about? It's true, I saw with my own eyes that a pair of red wings grew out of her back, and there was a little flame. You have to keep it a secret for me and don't let Chu Xiaoxi know. The test continued. After a long wait, it was finally Chen Mou's turn. As soon as Chen Mou came on the stage, many media's cameras and cannons immediately pointed at him. He was a topic figure with great news effect, and reporters would naturally not let him go. Chen Mou is very strong in the written test, but I heard that his actual combat ability is very average, or even a little bit poor. The audience whispered. Yes, this is a pity. The development of civil and military is unbalanced. I think it will be a bit difficult for him to take the college entrance examination. Why didn't Chen Mou go to those schools that are purely theoretical and do not involve actual combat? Doing scientific research in the future is also a way out. Young people always want to practice and dream of changing the situation with a wave of their hands. An organization has conducted a survey before. Only 10% of teenagers want to become scientists in the future, and more than 70% of teenagers want to become invincible and strong, and travel across the stars. Your information is out of date. Chen Mou's strength has greatly improved. He defeated Qi Wenchang from Yonghui High School and has been promoted to the top 10 masters. There are also well-informed people who know Chen Mou's strength, but these people are relatively few. In the impression of most people, Chen Mou is strong in written tests, weak in actual combat, and seriously biased in subjects. 970 kg in the past 2 days, Chen Mou's strength has improved slightly. After an estimate, he thinks this weight is acceptable. Soon, the audience noticed this scene. 970 kilograms far exceeded their perception of Chen Mou's strength. Isn't Chen Mou's strength about 600 kilograms? You ask me, who should I ask? Chen Mou snatched a barbell, his joints moving like a dragon, and his body straight. 10 meters, 15 meters, 19 meters, 20 meters. Chen Mou walked to the finish line, feeling easier than he thought, and did not reach the limit like last time in the test hall. After practicing the magic dragon body forging method, Chen Mou recovered very quickly. After 30 seconds, he was almost back to his peak state. Without too much accumulation of power, Chen Mou punched out, and there was a trace of the breath of the magic dragon in his flesh and blood. The invincible martial arts will rose, and with one punch, the ghosts and gods retreated. In the eyes of the audience, it seemed that a magic dragon had descended, wreaking havoc everywhere, and the world was shrouded in its majesty. After a shake, the 2019 kg tester displayed the reading. Instructor Li stood up suddenly. This is an explosive force that exceeds twice his own. When Duan Fechen broke the record, he did not show such a shocked look. Chen Mou's endurance is 970 kilograms, but his explosive force reaches an astonishing 2019 kilograms, which is more than twice his endurance. The general audience cannot understand this situation, and will only think that Chen Mou is strong, but not as good as Duan Fechen. But Li Xingming does not think so. The meaning of this is too terrifying. This means that Chen Mou can use 1 point of force to burst out 2 points of power. This person is a natural fighting machine. Instructor Li flashed this thought in his mind. Moreover, when Chen Mou punched just now, the invincible martial arts will was infused into it, with the courage to break everything. Insufficient strength can be slowly improved, but martial arts will is not so easy to temper. I have to report to Xinghe Academy. Li Xingming began to make a small calculation in his mind. Chen Mou's performance is not as good as Duan Fechen or Chen Kai, but it is also shocking. After all, Chen Mou's strength was average before, but now it can be said to be a blockbuster. Countless people secretly guessed the secret of Chen Mou's rise. The media used cameras to record this moment. For them, there were many things to record today. The amazing performances of Duan Fechen and Su Dao, the rise of Chen Kai and Chen Mou, were all topical things. However, Chen Mou's popularity did not last long, and the attention of the media and the audience was immediately drawn to another place. Chu Xiaoxi's test was about to begin. Not long after the audience switched to the live broadcast room, they saw a shocking scene. Chu Xiaoxi directly lifted a 1,800 kilograms weight, and then in the explosive power test, he slapped the newly replaced new test instrument. The instructors of Yonghui No. 1 Middle School were all alarmed. There was no choice but to urgently replace a more advanced and sturdy tester. The test showed that Chu Xiaoxi's explosive power was 3,457 kilograms. The whole audience was shocked, and the online live broadcast room was silent for a long time. If it was generally powerful, they would swipe the screen crazily and admire it, but seeing this kind of demon-like performance, they could only remain silent. It's getting more and more terrifying. Is it good or bad? Chen Mou held the phone. A trace of worry flashed in his eyes. After Duan Fechen learned the news, he clenched his fists, and his face showed no thoughts. A flame ignited in Su Dao's eyes. Maybe he would have to live under the shadow of this woman for the rest of his life, but the courage to challenge would never be extinguished. Chapter 41. The first day of testing ends. The actual test of the college entrance examination made Chen Mou clearly understand his shortcomings. His strength has improved fast enough, but he still can't compare with those top geniuses. There is nothing he can do about it. Since he got the sea swallow secret, he has only practiced for more than 10 days. It is still difficult to wipe out the advantages that others have accumulated for more than 10 years in more than 10 days. It's not that Chen Mou didn't work hard in those 10 years, but in those 10 years, Chen Mou got fewer cultivation resources, his skills were not top-notch, and there was not much nutrient solution. So he was pulled apart step by step in the process of cultivation. However, Chen Mou also has his own advantages. Chen Mou got the sea swallow secret, and his cultivation skills were greatly improved. He also had the memory of the future, so he could practice with half the effort. As long as he spent more time, he could make up for this gap. The strength test in the morning came to an end. Some students went home to rest, while others chose to stay in Yanghui High School and eat in the cafeteria. During the college entrance examination, the cafeterias of various schools are open not only to students of the school, but also to students from other schools. As long as they show their student ID cards, the fees are free. The canteen has a rich variety of dishes, including steamed lobster, goose heart, fish, beef, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, broccoli, dragon fruit, etc., with a proper combination of meat and vegetables. For students from other schools who do not have dormitories in the school, Yanghui High School will also arrange a temporary lounge for them to rest. Chen Mou is used to staying in school at noon. Although he is very close to home, he did not choose to go home. After the lunch break, the speed test began in the afternoon. This test is relatively simple and very fast. The test content is 50 meters, which is a national standard. One of the entrance examinations for Zhuans is to conduct a 50-meter test, and the speed must exceed 50 meters per second. In other words, for students with strong strength, it takes less than 1 second to conduct a 50-meter test, because their speed exceeds 50 meters per second. For those with weaker strength and who have not yet reached the level of Zhuans, it takes more than 1 second to run. According to the data of previous years, unless there is a major mistake, it is impossible to run a score of more than 2 seconds, which is too embarrassing. For this kind of test, the time spent on preparation before the test is the biggest part, and running is just a matter of a moment. In the afternoon test, the order of appearance was different from that in the morning. This was randomly selected in the system before. Chen Mou was in the front. As soon as the Haiyan Jue was activated, a weak airflow surrounded his body. The surging power in his body rose and fell, surging out. As soon as his feet stepped on the ground, the strong reaction force pushed his body out like a cannonball and rushed across the finish line. During this period, the weak airflow, or storm, played a role in pushing him forward. In the end, he ran a time of 0.5102 seconds, with an average speed of 98.0008 meters per second. Next was Duanfeichen. I saw the miraculous power around him mobilize, and a stream of gusts of wind stirred up behind him, baring his teeth and claws. The power of thinking becomes wind. This is the power that Duanfeichen has demonstrated before. While running, the strong wind stirred violently, pushing him to the finish line like flying from behind. Duanfeichen's time was 0.4137 seconds, with an average speed of 120.8605 meters per second. Seeing this scene, Chen Mou was a little surprised. He thought he was the Lord of Storms and could use the power of wind to propel himself, but he didn't expect this kid to be more ruthless than him. This was also because Chen Mou's cultivation was not good enough. If he also reached the level of Miracle Apprentice, how could Duanfeichen show off his skills? Su Dao ran a time of 0.4015 seconds, with an average speed of 124.5330 meters per second, which was a little better than when he was in the test hall. Chen Kai ran 0.4678 seconds, with an average speed of 106.8833 meters per second. Chu Xiaoxi was different. Her body was shrouded in the phantom of a red bird, with her wings spread out. In an instant, she was at the finish line. She was the only one in the city who broke the 0.4 second limit, reaching 0.3872 seconds, with an average speed of 129.1322 meters per second. Relatively speaking, the difference in speed was not as big as in the strength test. In today's test, several middle schools each produced many talented people. For example, in addition to Chu Xiaoxi and Su Dao, the top 10 students of Yanghui High School and some masters of Chenbei No. 1 Middle School performed brilliantly, and their scores were similar to Chen Mou's. Chen Mou emerged as a dark horse today, and he can also be classified as a genius. The first day of the test ended successfully. The candidates breathed a sigh of relief and were also guessing the content of the next test. Strength and speed tests are generally placed on the first day, and actual combat competitions are on the last day. However, in the past few days, the content of the test often changes and is difficult to determine. It can only be known that the content of the test will not be simple. After returning home and having dinner with his parents, Chen Mou began to think about improving his strength. In fact, a few days ago, Chen Mou was practicing a forbidden technique in the magic dragon body forging method, called the magic dragon blood burning technique, which can greatly improve combat power. It is a comprehensive improvement in strength, speed, and body hardness. Once the blood burning technique is used, the combat power is fully opened and enters a runaway state. Unfortunately, Chen Mou has been thinking about it for several days, but it is still unsuccessful. Even though Chen Mou had studied it thoroughly and applied it to perfection in his future memories, it was still difficult to apply it in reality. It was called the magic dragon blood burning technique, and it would not really burn the blood, but only make the blood boil in the power surge. The sequelae of this move were not great. It would only make people extremely tired afterwards, and their strength would be only half of what it was before, and they would need to rest for a while to recover. Chen Mou was in the bedroom, and the magic dragon body forging method was running. The blood flow gradually accelerated, and finally reached a boiling state of galloping and rolling. Strength. Chen Mou felt that the power dormant in his body was mobilized, and there was a feeling of wanting to break everything. But soon, Chen Mou felt that he was not used to it. Organs such as the heart, lungs, and kidneys thought that they were overburdened and were oppressed by Chen Mou, and protested. The state of boiling blood disappeared, Chen Mou's strength fell, and there was also a sense of emptiness. In this regard, Chen Mou did not force too much. He knew that his physical fitness had not yet reached a perfect state. It is necessary to go further, make the muscles of the whole body integrated, the heart beats strongly, like the roar of a war drum, and the bones are clear and pure like glass, and at the same time have a strength beyond steel, so as to better use the magic dragon blood burning technique. Since the magic dragon body forging method cannot be used for the time being, Chen Mou did not hesitate and continued to practice. Although he did not go to the training room for training during the college entrance examination, Chen Mou's strength is still improving. Cultivation does not have to be sweating profusely, or fighting for life and death. In life, there is cultivation everywhere. In the room, absorbing spiritual energy and tempering the body can also improve cultivation. As Chen Mou's mind moved, the organs of the whole body operated in a strange rhythm. Just like people can exercise, the organs of the whole body can also exercise. It is said that if the Hall of Fame strongman makes a full shot, the heart beats like thunder, which can directly stun ordinary people. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42 Guessing. July 4th, the army of college entrance examination candidates revived again. After a night's rest, the senior high school students were full of energy. One by one, students walked into the school gate and came to the test site with ease. On the big playground, everyone gathered. Although there was no organization, the order was good and there was no chaos. Chen Kai approached Chen Mou and looked at him with a scrutinizing look. Good for you, Chen Mou. I thought I had made great progress, but I didn't expect you to make rapid progress without making any noise. Chen Mou smiled mysteriously. You have secrets, and so do I. I know your secrets very well, but you definitely don't know what mine are. Chen Kai suddenly felt depressed in his chest and wanted to vomit it out, but he was stuck there and couldn't express it. In his after-school time in high school, Chen Kai also liked to read some novels, in which the protagonists accidentally got some adventures, and from then on, they couldn't stop and gradually embarked on the road to dominance. A month or two ago, Chen Kai suddenly awakened his physical condition. At first, he felt abnormal and a little panicked, but later he was able to control the powerful force and was delighted. Chen Kai felt that he was the protagonist in the novel. Duan Feichen was very strong and arrogant, but it didn't matter. He would definitely be able to beat him if he practiced for a while. Chen Kai had been keeping his secret and didn't even tell his parents. In the past month or two, he practiced silently and made great progress. But now, he found that Chen Mou also had a secret, and his progress was faster than his. How could Chen Kai not be depressed? He felt that his dream of being the protagonist was ruined. The two looked at each other and each showed a weird smile. A smile on the skin but not on the body. Chen Kai said, compared to your strength, your performance in the written test 2 days ago was stronger. I am ashamed of myself. Do you know what netizens call you? What do you call me? Chen Mou was stunned. He really didn't know. Although he had been online these days, he only paid attention to some important college entrance examination information. After a few glances, he continued to practice. King of Force. Chen Kai looked serious. Chen Mou's face darkened. By the way, you have to be careful of Duan Fechen. I heard that he was very powerful when fighting. Those who had fought with him before were all seriously injured. Although I am confident that I can surpass him soon, I am not his opponent now. Chen Kai reminded. Don't worry, I have a way to deal with him. Chen Mou attaches great importance to Duan Fechen. This person is very powerful and it is really difficult for him to deal with him for a while. If he and Chen Kai fight for the final championship in the actual battle on the last day, he will naturally fight against him. With the current strength of Chen Mou and Chen Kai, they may not be able to defeat Duan Fechen together. This person has reached the realm of Miracle Apprentice, and the miracle power is too strong. According to Duan Fechen's personality, he must have regarded the championship of Yonghui High School as his own. However, Chen Mou will not let him do as he wishes. The first place of Yonghui High School is not something Duan Fechen can take, even if Chu Xiaoxi and Su Dao are not there. Chen Mou's strength is not as good, but there are too many secret methods in his memory. If he wants to deal with Duan Fechen, there is a lot of room for operation. That's good. Chen Kai nodded, secretly shocked, feeling that he really couldn't understand Chen Mou at all. The examiners and instructors are in place. I'll go back to District 5 first. Chen Kai saw Instructor Li and the principal coming in, said hello, and hurried away. At the same time, one by one, the staff lifted many metal brackets to the playground, fixed them to the ground, and then installed steel cylinders as thick as an adult's fist into the brackets and fixed them with the brackets. On the high platform, Lin Yahan held a microphone in her hand, facing the camera, reporting the situation on the scene to the audience. Dear audience friends, today is the 4th day of the college entrance examination and the 2nd day of the practical test. The test content is confidential before the college entrance examination begins today, and it is difficult to speculate based on the previous situation. As you can see, the staff has brought up a lot of metal brackets, which I think is related to the content of this test. In response to this, Yonghui TV has organized a prize-winning guessing activity. Audience friends can send bullet screen guesses in our online live broadcast room, and friends watching in front of the TV can also send text messages to 100,102,019 to participate in the guessing activity. The audience whose guess is closest to the actual content will receive a Huoxing Mobile Phone Explorer Edition. 3 winners will be drawn in the guessing activity. The final right of interpretation of this activity belongs to Yonghui TV. Yonghui TV launched a guessing activity, which instantly ignited the enthusiasm of the audience. Huoxing mobile phones are very famous not only in China but also in the world. Although there are low-end phones on sale, this Explorer Edition is the high-end of the high-end, and one unit costs at least 7,000 or 8,000 yuan. This kind of guessing activity does not charge any fees. At most, it costs a text message fee. It is almost a free gift, so naturally everyone is happy to participate. Even some viewers from wealthy families couldn't help but join in and feel the atmosphere. If nothing else, it means that others didn't guess it, but you guessed it. Doesn't that mean you are smarter and more knowledgeable? Just looking at some metal brackets and several steel cylinders, it is really hard to guess the content of the test. Is it to test arm strength and bend the steel cylinders? But this is too simple. Although these steel cylinders are as thick as adult arms, they are like toys in the hands of these students with hundreds of kilograms of strength. Some people also speculate that several or dozens of metal cylinders are tied together and bent at the same time. It is easy to break a chopstick, but it is much more difficult to break a bundle of chopsticks, let alone a metal column. In the live broadcast room, there are all kinds of guesses. I bet this is to let students use it as a weapon to perform a stick show. The long-lost dog-beating stick method will surely reappear in the arena. Wrong, this is to throw a javelin. Although the shape of this javelin is not very standard, in actual combat, it is necessary to flexibly use various weapons. I heard that many strong men have amazing arm strength. They can pick up a metal bar and throw it, which can pierce people through and explode blood holes. Many stupid netizens have put forward their own guesses, Each one is more bizarre than the other, but it must be said that they are very unique ideas. On the playground, the staff is still moving, transporting long knives and placing them on one side of the metal bracket. Why are there knives? This is a bit confusing. Well, it seems that I guessed half right. Today is the Chen Mou knife versus the dog beating stick. The Chen Mou knife is sharp, and the dog beating stick is long. Is it an inch longer and an inch stronger, or an inch shorter and an inch more dangerous? We will see the answer today. The netizen in front continued his guess. Metal bracket, metal long stick, knife. Chen Mou probably knew what he was going to test. Chapter 43, Cutting Off. On the high platform, Instructor Li glanced at the time. The hands on his watch pointed to 9 o'clock in the morning. Begin. Instructor Li's voice spread throughout the venue. Upon hearing this, the examiners explained the content of today's test to the students. Today's test items are very simple to explain. On the bracket, 5 metal iron bars are placed side by side. You hold a long knife and try to cut as many iron bars as possible with one knife. The score is measured by the number of iron bars cut. In order to ensure fairness, this score is not given by us examiners, but by the detection instruments installed around the venue to analyze and judge. These instruments have both video recording functions and extremely strong computing capabilities. They can comprehensively analyze various data and give reasonable and fair scores. These words appeared in various test areas on the playground. The content of the test is not difficult to understand, but it is extremely difficult to put it into practice. Although the knife is sharp, it is relatively thin after all. Compared with these iron bars as thick as an adult's fist, it is considered brittle. If you want to cut the iron bars with a knife, it is not enough to have great strength. If you don't control it well, the long knife will break. But if the strength is too small, it will not work. You can't cut these steels. This test obviously tests both the student's strength and their control. Even in this process, the student's eyesight is also tested. If the eyesight is good, they can find the weak point of the iron rod, which will naturally be twice the result with half the effort. This test is essentially the same as the test arranged by Teacher Zheng. It tests strength, control and eyesight, but there are subtle differences. Chen Mou thought about it. The soul is meditating quietly, using the eyes of the heart to see the weakest point of things. This is the teaching of Teacher Zheng. This is the eyes of the heart, which is one level higher than eyesight. But there are some differences. The diamond wood used by Teacher Zheng is a big deal. The price is much higher than the iron rod, and there are 9 of them. There are only 5 iron rods here, which is obviously to save money, but I have to say that in terms of hardness, the iron rod is still a little higher than the diamond wood, and these 5 iron rods are made as wide as an adult's fist, which is difficult to handle. In a flash of thought, Chen Mou flashed through many analyses and had several countermeasures to get high scores in his mind. Although it saves money, it is more difficult than the test arranged by Teacher Zheng. The examiners thought for a while and added a rule. In this test, you can use the power of miracles, but you can only strengthen yourself, not change the properties of the iron rod. The power of miracles has many functions, and can even act on a certain part of the iron rod with a perception of the mind, making it as fragile as rotten wood. However, this ability takes a little time to realize. In actual combat, you can play several killing moves in 1 second. Who will give you the opportunity to slowly weaken it? Therefore, in actual combat, the power of miracles is generally used to strengthen yourself, and this weakening function will not be used. But now it is different. It is still possible to weaken the iron rod by deliberately slowing down the preparation in the test. This is not in line with the original intention of the test. It is a cheating behavior and should be prohibited. Duan Fechen hummed in his heart. I am the only miracle apprentice in the whole audience. Isn't this targeting me? I don't even bother to use this method. Okay, the test officially begins. Everyone, take your positions and come up in order. First, Xiao Kangsheng. Xiao Kangsheng took a deep breath and strode forward. He was very tall, at least 1.9 meters tall, with broad shoulders, long hands, and bulging muscles on his arms as thick as bowls. After taking the long knife, he observed carefully for a while, and then chopped the iron rod in vain. After several actions, Xiao Kangsheng did not really make a move, but was just testing. The long knife stopped before it touched the iron rod, and he was obviously not satisfied with the angle. The examiners did not urge him, and let him study slowly. Xiao Kangsheng finally couldn't help it, found an angle, and chopped it down with a knife. The knife flashed, cut through 2 iron rods, and collided with a third iron rod, and it actually broke into pieces. The instrument next to it accurately recorded this scene and uploaded the data to the internet. As for the score, no one knew it at the moment. Xiao Kangsheng sighed, and the whole person looked very depressed. Although he didn't know the score now, it would definitely not be high. Looking at Xiao Kangsheng's back as he left, the examiner laughed. This candidate was tall and strong, but his control over strength was obviously not enough. This test does not mean that the stronger the strength, the better. If you have too much strength but don't know how to use it, the long sword will break. So how can you cut the iron bar? In the ancient legend, a master who has mastered the power to the extreme put a piece of tofu on a stone slab and slapped it with his palm. The tofu was intact, but the stone slab was broken into powder. Now it is not necessary to be as exaggerated as in the legend, but it also tests the student's control. Next, Lin King. A girl with fair skin and delicate appearance walked forward, stretched out 5 slender fingers, and took the long sword. Unlike Xiao Kangsheng, Lin King did not observe the 5 iron bars carefully, but closed her eyes and sensed something. Is this, observing the weaknesses carefully? The examiner nodded secretly. To understand this girl's understanding is not bad. The long sword passed by, like a willow leaf falling in the wind, with a sense of etherealness. After cutting 3 iron bars in a row, it finally ran out of strength and stopped, only shallowly embedded in the 4th iron bar. Unfortunately, my strength is still weak. Lin King frowned. The long sword did not break, but it was exhausted and stuck by the iron rod. This was also related to Lin King's fear of using all his strength. When he used all his strength, it was difficult to control this strength and do whatever he wanted. After nodding to the examiner, Lin King turned and left. In the 3rd area, it was soon Duan Fichen's turn. He was holding a long sword, with a thin body, and he really had a swordsman's temperament that was out of this world, which caused some fans in the audience to scream. This guy is so arrogant, just chop with a sword, and he's still showing off. Chen Kai was immediately unhappy. But what he didn't want to admit was that he couldn't stand Duan Fichen because Duan Fichen had many fans, but he didn't. As if receiving a signal from Chen Kai, Duan Fichen in the 3rd area instantly made a move. Like an ancient swordsman's move, the sword flashed, extremely fast, with a sense of dead silence. With one sword, the 5 iron bars were cut in half, and the cuts were as smooth as a mirror. The examiner of the 3rd district took a breath and nodded secretly. This Duan Fichen is strong and explosive, and now he has shown extreme control. He is a promising talent. If nothing unexpected happens, he will be the first in the Yonghui High School examination district. As for the 1 in 10,000 unexpected situation, it is almost impossible. In the entire Yonghui High School examination district, no one who can compete with Duan Fichen has been found. Chapter 44, Nonsense Zhangzing 10. At the Yonghui No. 1 middle school campus, Chu Xiaoxi raised her bare hands and slashed her long sword lightly, like a fluttering butterfly, with a sense of tranquility and peace. Chu Xiaoxi's strong performance the day before yesterday attracted a large number of fans. With a fury-like appearance and strong strength, and it is said that her background is also extraordinary, she naturally became a goddess-level figure. However, in the imagination of many viewers, the scene of the iron rod breaking with a sound did not appear, and the 5 iron lumps still stood there intact. What's going on? Chu Xiaoxi's performance at this moment was somewhat incomprehensible. Naturally, everyone would not doubt Chu Xiaoxi's strength, but Chu Xiaoxi's movements just now seemed slow but actually fast, and almost no one at the scene could see it clearly, not to mention some people who were watching on the screen through photographic equipment. Is Chu Xiaoxi testing and not making a move? Maybe she is just strong, but it is difficult to control this strength. Some of Chu Xiaoxi's competitors said sourly. When everyone was puzzled, the examiner took a breath. Others did not know, but he saw it clearly. Students nowadays are all monsters. The examiner smiled bitterly. He had also participated in the college entrance examination. Although there were many geniuses among the candidates of the same class, their strength was not as strong as this class. He was about to step forward, but he saw Chu Xiaoxi flick his sleeves, a breeze blew, and the upper part of the iron rod staggered to the ground. Isn't this a TV shot? I saw it in real life. There was a sound of exclamation at the scene. On TV, in order to show the power of a mysterious person, he slapped a big tree with one palm, and there was no reaction on the surface. After a while, a breeze blew, and the big tree turned into dust and scattered. What Chu Xiaoxi did now, although not as shocking as that scene, was similar. If you want to cut the iron rod, the upper end of the iron rod must fall off under the force. Chu Xiaoxi is now violating the laws of physics, and it even makes people wonder if the iron rod is broken by itself and just glued together. However, the power of miracles can even change fate, so it is not difficult to do this. Although there is a rule that it is not allowed to act on the iron rod, it can also be achieved through other means, such as acting on the long sword. The examiner was not amazed by the iron rod, but Chu Xiaoxi's proficiency in using the power of miracles at will. This person does not look like a student who has just entered the miracle apprenticeship, but rather like a practitioner who has entered this realm for many years. In the examiner's observation, Chu Xiaoxi did not prepare too much, but just did it at will. Is this person going to break through and reach the realm of Miracle Master soon? The examiner was shocked by his own thoughts. Miracle Masters can be regarded as figures in the entire Huiki country. According to legend, Miracle Masters have various abilities such as resurrection, mind interference, teleportation, control of strong winds, control of lightning and temperature change, and are supernatural figures. Some company bosses may ignore beginners and use money to recruit miracle apprentices, but they are extremely respectful to Miracle Masters. Even if they don't make friends, they dare not offend them. The examiner himself is a Miracle Master, and he has only broken through in the past 2 years. After the breakthrough, he felt that his social status has been greatly improved. Miracle Masters with a higher level of realm master the methods of resurrection and control of lightning. Some company bosses will try every means to make friends with him. What are the troubles of rich people? One is to want to live, and the other is to be afraid of death. Miracle Masters can bring people back to life and prolong their lives. Who doesn't want that? But if you offend a Miracle Master, you will be struck by lightning, which is not fun. This woman should be breaking through soon, but it is hard to say how fast it will be. Breaking through within half a year is fast, and breaking through within 2 years is also fast. But if she can break through to the realm of a Miracle Master in her freshman year, she will be a genius among geniuses. The examiner calmed his thoughts and stopped thinking about it. He heard that this woman was a child of the Chu family in East China. It was not unacceptable to have such qualifications. The test was still going on. In Yanghui High School, it was Chen Mou's turn to play. Chen Mou held a long sword in his hand and entered a strange rhythm. In his future memories, he had studied swordsmanship in depth and reached the first-class master level, but eventually abandoned these weapons. It's not because modern weapons are stronger, but because he has reached the state where it doesn't matter whether he has a knife or not. The knife is the weapon of the hegemon, and the sword is the weapon of the king, but in essence, they are both tools for killing. If you understand the original intention of killing and the principle of destruction, what difference does it make whether you have a knife or not? The vast playground was bustling with people, but at this moment, these people had disappeared from Chen Mou's sight, and only Chen Mou was left standing between heaven and earth. Chen Mou felt that the knife in his hand seemed to be connected to himself, and the pulses of the two gradually synchronized. In the future, it would make no difference to Chen Mou whether he had a knife or not, but now Chen Mou had not reached this state, and he still had to rely on the power of this long knife. This student is a little unusual. The chief examiner of the 7th district felt a murderous aura emanating from Chen Mou, and couldn't help but narrow his eyes. Unlike other students who raised their long knives and chopped from top to bottom, Chen Mou drew his knife and slashed directly from below. During the attack, Chen Mou's aura had completely calmed down. There was no such shocking sword intent as imagined. It was more like an old man practicing Tai Chi in the park, and he passed by lightly. It was during this ordinary action that the upper part of the 5 iron bars fell directly, and the cut was a smooth slope. On the high platform, Instructor Li looked at Zhang Xingteng with a fake smile. Xingteng, the students you taught are really amazing. With Instructor Li's eyesight, he could naturally see that this sword had reached the realm of returning to nature. This was something that most people on the field could not see. They would only think that Chen Mou was amazing, but they could not answer where he was amazing. Even the machine responsible for recording the uploaded data could not record this artistic conception. Although the central processor would give a higher score after analysis, it was hard to say how high it was. This was inevitable. The machine scored to ensure fairness, but the machine's eyesight was different from that of humans. They could not understand the artistic conception that was too profound. In pursuit of fairness, a kind of unfairness was caused. So, There is no absolute fairness in this world. At this time, Instructor Li's thoughts were complicated. He heard that Zhu Xiaoxi, Su Dao and Chen Mou were all students of Zhang Xingteng. For these three people, he wanted to recommend them to Xinghua Academy, which he had connections with, but because these three people were all taught by Zhang Xingteng, he was a little unhappy. Li Xingming knew Zhang Xingteng a long time ago, but no matter what he did, he was always overshadowed by Zhang Xingteng. Now Zhang Xingteng has returned to teach in an ordinary high school, and the students he taught are so amazing. Yes, Longtao Middle School in Yonghui City is also an ordinary high school in Li Xingming's view. I don't dare to take credit for this. Zhang Xingteng shook his head. Let's not talk about Zhu Xiaoxi and Su Dao. You must know something about them. They all have very deep backgrounds. Take Chen Mou for example. Although I have taught him for 3 years and paid attention to him and guided him, I can only take 30% of the credit for his achievements. Besides, Yonghui High School has many other teachers, so in fact I don't even have 30% of the credit, at most 10% or 20%. You are still so humble. Li Xingming laughed. In previous exams, you always said that you performed poorly this time and estimated that your grades would be very bad. But when the results came out, you were still first in the class. Li Xingming didn't believe Zhang Xingteng's lies at all. Chapter 45, Coach Li. Zhang Xingteng smiled and didn't explain much. These days, no one believes the truth, but people believe lies 100%. This performance made Li Xingming more convinced of his own thoughts. Zhang Xingteng was full of nonsense, and none of his words were trustworthy. In the past, he was more innocent and was deceived many times. But now, it is impossible for Zhang Xingteng to deceive him again. For a moment, Li Xingming felt a sense of satisfaction. After years of experience, his mind, emotional intelligence, and IQ have all improved significantly. What could be more exciting than seeing your own continuous progress? The two of them didn't bother to talk more, and their eyes continued to look at the examination room. Under the gaze of the two, Chen Kai strode forward and picked up the long knife. With one swing of the knife broke, but all 5 iron rods were cut off. After Chen Mou finished the test, he was paying attention to Chen Kai's performance. Seeing this scene, he pondered, it seems that Chen Kai still can't control this power well. Dao in battle body, this physique is extremely strong, and every move is full of power. When they collided, it was like a divine elephant trampling. After practicing to perfection, they could travel through the sea of stars and smash many stars and black holes with one move. However, the Dao in battle body is not only powerful. When it is truly practiced to a profound level, the power is divided into thousands, and each power can be controlled to the smallest detail. Chen Kai has just awakened and is still in the stage of tempering his physique and gaining power. He still needs to polish his control of power. Instructor Li narrowed his eyes when he saw this scene. Yesterday, he paid attention to Chen Kai, a student. His physique is very unusual. Li Xingming went back to investigate the situation and found that this person was also Zhang Xingteng's student. Xingteng, there are so many talented people among your students. I think you have made great contributions. Li Xingming said something with a hint of meaning. Zhang Xingteng was stunned. What does this have to do with me? His physique is special. I also discovered it yesterday, but he is born with this physique. Can I still interfere? Li Xingming smiled and said nothing. Who knows about this kind of thing? He didn't awaken early or late, but he awakened his physique when you were coaching. If you say there is no connection at all, who would believe it? Zhang Xingteng, seemingly retreating due to setbacks and staying away from the center of the vortex, is actually secretly laying out and placing many chess pieces. How insidious. I, Li Xingming, have been through many hardships and have seen through the world with my eyes. Do you think this trick can be hidden from me? It is said that adults wear masks on their faces. Zhang Xingteng looks so kind. Who would have thought that he was so calculating? The exams are continuing. Yonghui High School, Chengbei No. 1 Middle School and Yonghui No. 1 Middle School have all produced many outstanding students. Some of those who had poor results in the strength test yesterday showed strong control of strength today. Some of those who were very strong yesterday could not control their strength as they wished. With one knife, they only cut off 3 or 4 iron bars. A student in black clothes and black pants, with sword eyebrows flying obliquely and a bit of unruly atmosphere walked up. He was slender and strong, his eyes were as bright as morning stars, his skin was bronze, his palms were thick, he held the long knife tightly, and with one swing, He easily cut off the 5 iron bars. This man is Liang Lixuan, the second best player in Chen Mou number 1 middle school. His strength is a little worse than Duan Feichin, but not too far behind. Chen Kai appeared beside Chen Mou and whispered. At this moment, Liang Lixuan seemed to have sensed it, looked at Chen Mou and the others, and smiled meaningfully. In yesterday's test, Liang Lixuan's performance was also amazing, but in the media reports, he did not pay much attention to him. His limelight was completely overshadowed by Chiu Xiaoxi, Su Dao, and Duan Feichin. In fact, his attention was not as good as Chen Kai and Chen Mou, because Chen Kai and Chen Mou's strength was not obvious before, but now they have made great progress and are praised by the media as the dark horse of this college entrance examination. Liang Lixuan must prove himself. On the last day of actual combat, the first place could not be counted on, as Duan Feichin had already decided on it, but Liang Lixuan had to take the second place, which was also a means of winning glory for Chen Mou number 1 middle school. Before that, the 2 obstacles of Chen Kai and Chen Mou had to be cleared. Chen Kai responded with a provocative look. He was not very sure about fighting Duan Feichin at this stage, but Liang Lixuan dared to be arrogant. He was worried that he could not find a good opponent to sharpen his strength after his strength increased. The 2 looked at each other and sneered. From Chen Mou number 1 middle school, the news came back that Su Dao easily completed the test. This did not cause much waves, and everything was within everyone's expectations. Today's test, as time went by, slowly came to an end. After a break at noon, the students who had not yet taken their turn continued. When the last student completed the assessment, the instructor announced that today's assessment was successfully completed. All data and images were recorded by the instrument and uploaded to the Central Processing Unit of the Ministry of Education for analysis and processing, and the whole process was scored by the machine. The afterglow of the setting sun lengthened the figures of the crowd. The students left the school and returned home to enjoy a quiet and peaceful time. The students relaxed, but the media people in Yonghui City still had to engage in intense and exciting work. Lin Yahan sat in the office, wearing a professional suit and her hair tied into a bunch, giving people a sense of neatness. After a day's work, her face was slightly haggard, but still beautiful and unparalleled. At this moment, Lin Yahan was frowning slightly. Although today's test was a good test of the students' control of power, it was not a hot topic for the media. Yesterday, Duan Feichin, Su Dao, and Chiu Xiaoxi broke the city record in succession. The news was hot and the topic was simply explosive. On that day, the ratings of Yonghui TV and the number of website article readings reached a new peak. Today's test did not have the directly quantifiable values of yesterday, nor was it a battle that made people's blood boil. It was just a group of students chopping iron bars. With one knife, some iron bars broke and some knives broke. Originally, the number of iron bars cut off could be used to measure the strength of the students, but today Chiu Xiaoxi, Su Dao, Duan Feichin, Chen Kai, Chen Mou, Liang Lixuan, and more than a dozen other students all cut off 5 iron bars. How could they be ranked? Lin Yahan picked up the milk tea next to her, took a sip, and put it down again. I can't write it. I can't write it. Lin Yahan thought for a long time, but couldn't come up with any particularly good angle to approach it. Maybe she could only report today's test in a running account. Suddenly, Lin Yahan remembered a detail she noticed. Instructor Li and Zhang Xingtang sat side by side and talked cordially. This was obviously not normal, as one was an instructor of a very high status and the other was an ordinary teacher. Yesterday, the 2 sat together, and Lin Yahan thought it was a coincidence. Today, it was still the same, and it could no longer be explained by coincidence. Hello, is this Kinglin? Help me check the relationship between Instructor Li and Yonghui High School teacher Zhang Xingten. Lin Yahan made a phone call. She decided to write a gossip about the 2 of them. Anyway, this article would only be posted on public accounts and other online platforms, so it was not too formal. For formal articles, Yonghui TV station has special writers. Chapter 46 The Third Day's Assessment. Lin Yahan took out a few photos. The 2 people in the photos were Zhang Xingteng and Li Xingming. These photos were taken at the scene today. The more Lin Yahan looked at them, the more she felt that there was something wrong. There was definitely something wrong. The 2 people in the photos looked like good brothers, but if you look closely, you can find that they are smiling but not smiling. They are old foxes. Lin Yahan felt a chill in her heart and felt that she was still too young compared to these 2 people. The phone rang, and Lin Yahan reached out to take the phone. It was Zhou Qinglin she had called just now. Yahan, I just tried to find out the relationship between the two people you mentioned, but I didn't find any useful information. The experience of these two people is like a fog. There is only some very basic information, which I will pass on to you now. A soft female voice came over. Okay, I understand, thank you for your hard work. Lin Yahan nodded and hung up the phone. It seems that these two people are both very important. Lin Yahan confirmed her judgment. The fact that no useful information was found proved that some of the information of these two people had too high confidentiality authority and was not accessible to Yanghui TV station. Soon, Zhou Qinglin sent a document with the biographical information of Li Xingming and Zhang Xingten. Li Xingming had an extraordinary life and accomplished many great things, but when it came to the in-depth details, the information was vague. Zhang Xingten was just an ordinary person, with no highlights in his resume. These materials were obviously very different from the facts, and they should have been changed to this on purpose. Lin Yahan could only reluctantly give up the idea of writing an article. Forget it, I won't write today. Lin Yahan slumped leisurely in the chair in the office. Although I didn't accomplish anything today, I still worked hard on my own, and I need to have a good rest. On July 5th, the sun rose as promised. Instructor Li stood on the high platform. His body was tall and majestic, and the faint morning light sprinkled on his body, giving him a layer of golden color. Time is up, the test officially begins. After receiving the order, the examiners explained with ease, today's rules are also very simple. You will fight against C-class mechas. Whoever performs well will naturally get a high score. This time the scoring will still be done by the machine. We will not participate, but we will guard you and rescue you in time if you are in danger. But you must also pay attention to protecting yourself. After all, we are far away and may not be able to stop it immediately when encountering an emergency. Some students were dumbfounded on the spot. Fighting against C-class mechas? The rules are simple, but the battle is too difficult for us. In fact, these students had already noticed the existence of these rows of mechas before the test began, and they also lamented the generosity of the college entrance examination test. After all, a C-class mecha costs millions. But in their imagination, this test tests the ability to control the mecha, that is, students enter the control room, control the mecha to perform various tactical actions, or control the mecha to fight. This content has been learned many times in high school. Some students who were not particularly strong but were proficient in mecha control were secretly happy. They came from good families and loved to drive mechas around. Examiner, I didn't hear you clearly just now. Are you testing your control of mechas or fighting with mechas? Some students asked unwillingly. The examiner repeated patiently, you are fighting with mechas. As we all know, mechas have built-in automatic control systems and can fight on their own. In a while, you will fight with mechas controlled by the system. Suddenly, countless candidates wailed. This test was too difficult. With their strength, how could they compete with mechas? C-class mechas can reach a speed of 150 meters per second, which is much faster than students. Moreover, C-class mechas are extremely powerful, far beyond the student's comparison. Generally speaking, the larger the mass of a creature, the greater its strength. Just like a puppy, no matter how strong it is, can it be stronger than an elephant? The mass of a C-class mecha weighs at least 1 or 2 tons. Some students are tall and their body density increases after training. The whole person weighs 80 or 90 kilograms, but this is nothing compared to mecha. However, the human body is a magical thing, especially for practitioners, who are strong. Although the mass of a C-class mecha is more than 10 times that of a human body, its strength is not more than 10 times higher than that of a human body. This is too difficult. Even Chu Xiaoxi and Su Dao are not as strong and fast as this mecha, let alone us. This battle is impossible to fight. A student said angrily. I don't care about this. The test content is stipulated by the higher authorities. The examiner's face was as cold and hard as granite. However, this test does not necessarily require defeating the mecha. If you perform well and can hold on for a few more moves, you can also get a good score. Also, this test allows the use of cold weapons. We have prepared knives, guns, axes, sledgehammers, maces, shields, etc. You can choose at will. Of course, you don't have to use them. The examiner added. After hearing this, the candidates finally calmed down. Some students with quick minds were already thinking about dodging and avoiding the attack if they couldn't win. The power of this mecha was too strong. If they forced a head-on collision, they might die without knowing how they died. Also, whether to choose a weapon or not, you have to think carefully. It's not that having a weapon is definitely better than being unarmed. If the weapon is not used well, it will become a burden. Looking at the iron armor and the cold light of the C-class mecha, many students are wondering if these knives can cause damage to it. And when they think of the speed of this mecha of 150 meters per second, the students who have the idea of hiding if they can't win become melancholy again. Can this be dodged? I'm afraid they will be killed instantly without a face-to-face encounter. Next, the development of the plot was exactly as the students expected. You know, many students are not even Zuans, with a strength of less than 600 kilograms and a speed of less than 50 meters per second. These students are the mainstream in the school, and geniuses are still a minority after all. The speed of the C-class mecha is 150 meters per second, which is much faster than them. Some students wanted to dodge and chose not to bring weapons so as not to slow down their speed. As a result, they could not dodge at all and were knocked away in an instant. Some students chose weapons such as broadswords, but under the invincible iron fist of the C-class mecha, they flew out with their swords. Other students were smarter and chose to use shields to resist, but it was useless. The C-class mechas rolled over and swept across with iron fists, causing the shields to collapse. In the examination halls of various campuses, there was grief everywhere, and many students were beaten up and down, and they didn't know where to go. These mechas were all programmed and would not be ruthless, and there were examiners watching on the side, so nothing serious would happen. But the students would definitely not feel good. With this punch and kick, they felt like they were run over by a truck and their whole bodies were sore. Chapter 47 5-Story Building. Chen Mou and the C-class mecha faced each other from a distance, his eyes solemn. He did not choose weapons, but bare-handed. The magic dragon body forging method was practiced to the extreme, and he was an indestructible warrior. Although Chen Mou has not reached such a state yet, the presence or absence of weapons has little effect on his strength. Unless it is a peerless divine weapon, ordinary weapons will become a burden to him. The C-class mecha suddenly exploded, stepped on it with both feet, and the cement ground cracked slightly. The mecha took advantage of this force and rushed towards Chen Mou like an arrow. A huge monster came in front of Chen Mou in an instant, and the iron fist came out, shaking the wind and thunder. Chen Mou's heart trembled, calmed his mind, tightened his muscles, stepped on the 8 trigrams, and his body was like a swimming fish. In a gap, he sought a chance to survive. Not only did he dodge this fatal punch, but he also went around behind the C-class mecha. This C-class mecha is powerful and fast, but it is relatively rigid and not as flexible as humans. What's more, it is automatically controlled by a program, not by humans. With a bang, Chen Mou kept moving. He stepped on the leg joint behind the mecha, causing the C-class mecha to bend its left foot and tilt its body, almost unable to maintain balance. Chen Mou took advantage of the force to rise, like an eagle striking the sky, and suddenly rushed up, raising his body above the head of the C-class mecha. The C-class mecha is hard all over, made of alloy, and is 3 times harder than steel, but this does not mean that it has no weaknesses. Chen Mou knew that the weakness of this C-class mecha was in an energy pipeline at the back of its neck. As long as this pipeline was destroyed, the functional system of the mecha would be greatly affected. When Chen Mou's body rose, he was as light as an eagle. Once he reached a high place, he immediately turned into a Tyrannosaurus Rex and stepped down with both feet, trying to directly crush this heavily protected pipeline. But as a machine that costs millions, how could it be easily penetrated by the weakness? The C-class mecha twisted its body, tilted its iron head back, and hit Chen Mou's feet, making a loud noise. It stretched out its hands and grabbed Chen Mou's legs. Chen Mou would naturally not let it do what it wanted. If it was grabbed and thrown by the mecha, it would fall directly to the ground. This kind of consequence was something Chen Mou could not bear. The power of the C-class mecha was too great. It stepped on the mecha's head and used the force again. Its body flipped backwards, like catkins in the wind, floating down. The C-class mecha turned around and punched, and the offensive was continuous. In its processing core, a large number of martial arts programs were set up, and each move was applied freely, with a bit of the style of a martial arts master. Although the robot's steel body was still a little stiff when using some exquisite boxing techniques, it could make up for this shortcoming with a super strong force, extremely fast speed, and hard body. Chen Mou mainly wandered around and did not dare to collide with a mecha. Although the C-class mecha is fast, Chen Mou can always dodge its fatal move at the last second, and even use the opportunity of the mecha's old moves to launch a fierce counterattack. This Chen Mou is almost a martial arts master. Instructor Li's surprise was beyond words. In the eyes of many spectators, Chen Mou's situation was extremely dangerous. The C-class mecha forced Chen Mou to a desperate situation many times, but Chen Mou dodged it every time with incredible body skills. There were even a few times when the iron arm of the mecha was about to hit Chen Mou, but Chen Mou gently used the force to avoid the crisis. This situation cannot last after all. If he is really hit, I am afraid that even if he does not break his bones, he will lose the strength to fight again. Many spectators are worried about Chen Mou. But with Li Xingming's eyesight, he can naturally see that Chen Mou's moves are back to nature, and facing this clumsy mecha, it is almost a joke. Others think he is walking on a tightrope on a cliff, which is extremely dangerous. But they didn't know that Chen Mou could fly, so it was impossible for him to miss a step and fall off the cliff. Xingtang, your student is really amazing. He has learned all your true teachings. I see that he is a master of martial arts and is close to the realm of perfection. Even if I am purely talking about the exquisiteness of martial arts, I am not as good as him. Li Xingming looked at the middle-aged teacher with sparse hair beside him, with a smile on his face. At the same time, Li Xingming was secretly shocked. Okay, this Zhang Xingtang is really hidden. A disciple is better than me. How much has he improved? Li Xingming felt that he couldn't imagine it. Here, Li Xingming said that Chen Mou was stronger than him, which was purely based on martial arts moves, without combining his own realm power. Otherwise, Li Xingming would directly crush him with the power of a higher realm, and Chen Mou would not be able to resist. But even so, Li Xingming was amazed, as if he had seen the means of ghosts and gods. Because he himself has begun to comprehend the laws and comprehend the great way, how can a student who is not even a miracle apprentice comprehend more deeply than him? Behind all this, it must be Zhang Xingtang who is playing tricks. Principal Hu and Director Wang on the side were shocked when they heard the words. They didn't know the specific realm of Instructor Li, but they could vaguely feel something, that is a feeling of being unrestrained and boundless. In the whole Yanghui city, there is probably no second person who can compete with Instructor Li. Even the instructors in other schools are not as good as Instructor Li. But now, this almost invincible Instructor Li actually admitted that he was not as good as Chen Mou in a certain aspect. And Chen Mou was trained by Zhang Xingtang, so what realm should Zhang Xingtang himself reach? Principal Hu rolled his eyes. He usually had a good relationship with Zhang Xingtang and was considered familiar with him. It seemed that he would have to invite Zhang Xingtang to dinner more often in the future to communicate and keep in touch. Director Wang, who was not very familiar with Zhang Xingtang, was thinking about how to get close to him in a gentle way and not appear abrupt. This has nothing to do with me. Zhang Xingtang was stunned. Why did all the credit come to me? Seeing Zhang Xingtang trying to explain, Li Xingming waved his hands and interrupted. Xingtang, I know that you are a humble person, but I have to criticize you shamelessly. Excessive modesty is pride. As he said this, Li Xingming sneered in his heart. It doesn't matter. You can fool others but not me. We are old acquaintances. You have made progress, and I am not the young man I was back then. I will not be fooled by you again. Zhang Xingtang had no choice but to stop explaining. What Li Xingming has determined cannot be changed even by 9 bulls. Moreover, Chen Mou has made fast progress recently, and has shown a transcendent martial arts realm. If it is explored by others, it will not be a good thing. If all the credit is attributed to Zhang Xingtang, it can be explained. Even if someone doubts, they dare not explore too much. For Zhang Xingtang's face, they will not investigate Chen Mou's situation. Zhang Xingtang's attitude made Principal Hu and Director Wang confirm their thoughts. This Zhang Xingtang is indeed a hidden master. The level of the students he has trained is so high. How high is he? Maybe 5 stories high. Chapter 48. The first person to defeat the mecha. While Chen Mou was still fighting with the C-class mecha, Duan Feichen came on the field. The weapon Duan Feichen chose was a long spear, made of refined steel and weighing dozens of kilograms. But Duan Feichen held the spear and danced like the wind, just like playing with cotton. The C-class mecha turned on its power and rushed at full speed, colliding with its iron body, completely ignoring the spear. Duan Feichen's spear came out like a dragon, colliding with the mecha repeatedly, sparking a burst of sparks. After a few moves, Duen Fechen felt that it was difficult to support. The mecha had a hard appearance and was powerful and heavy. Under the collision, the spear was bent many times. However, this spear was not an ordinary item and was not damaged. It rebounded and straightened after being bent, allowing Duen Fechen to use the force to move away. Duen Fechen also adopted a wandering tactic. Although the C-class mecha was fast, it was straight and the turning was not particularly smooth, making it difficult to capture Duen Fechen's figure. In a few steps, Duen Fechen slid behind the mecha, shook his spear, and the cold light filled the sky, completely covering the weakness behind the C-class mecha. In fact, many people know about the weakness of the mecha, but it is too difficult to break through this weakness. When the mecha was designed, this point was not ignored. The power pipeline was covered with layers of fine steel. And in the program set in the center of the mecha, there are special martial arts moves to prevent the opponent from touching this weakness. In fact, there are many weaknesses in the human body, such as eyes, spine, and various acupoints. A long time ago, when cultivation was not popular, it was the era of martial arts. At that time, the warriors fought for life and death, and every move went to the weakness. This mecha has only one obvious weakness, which is relatively rare. Sure enough, the C-class mecha turned around, swung its iron arm, and swung the spear away. Duen Fechen felt a huge force rushing towards him, and his tiger's mouth shook, and he could hardly hold the spear. The mecha followed the trend, pressed forward with its iron body, and punched in the air with amazing power. Before the fist arrived, the strong wind had already hit Duen Fechen's face, making him gasp. Duen Fechen failed to hide him, but put himself in danger. However, he was not panicked. He let go of the spear and twisted his body, like a spinning top, and turned over like a kite, dodging this lightning move. If Duen Fechen was facing a real practitioner, the opponent would have two choices at this time. Reach out to grab the gun and stab Duen Fechen to death, or take advantage of Duen Fechen's weapon, leaving his hand to quickly attack and not give Duen Fechen any chance to turn the tables. However, this machine is not as flexible as a human. Although it chooses to continue to attack, its moves are not very coherent, and Duen Fechen dodged it again, and took the spear back. With the spear in hand, Duen Fechen breathed a sigh of relief. The situation just now was indeed extremely critical. If he lost the gun, most of his reliance would be gone, at least it would be difficult to touch the weaknesses of the C-class mecha. In this test, Duen Fechen was not satisfied with the examiner's suggestion to hold on for a few more moves. He wanted to win and knock down this mecha. Duen Fechen held a gun in his hand and fought the mecha again. The collision between the two was like a comet collision, which made many viewers feel very excited. In another place, Chen Mou's body rose again, like a dragon rising. The C-class mecha twisted its body several times, never letting Chen Mou touch its weak points, but Chen Mou followed it like a shadow, stepped on his feet and grabbed his hands, adjusted his body shape, and bit tightly on the back of the mecha. With a click, Chen Mou stepped on the back of the mecha's neck, and with full force, he stepped on that place and collapsed it. The C-class mecha shook its body, still brave. That place was protected by layers of protection. Although the collapse had an impact, it could not be said to be particularly large. Chen Mou failed to hide it, and thought to himself that it was bad. Sure enough, the iron arm of the mecha scratched and grabbed Chen Mou's feet. With a huge force, it threw Chen Mou to the ground fiercely, almost flattening him. Many viewers' hearts skipped a beat. The mecha's method was extremely cruel. The concrete floor cracked and Chen Mou fell into it. He felt sore all over, but he still gathered his strength and used his limbs to bounce up. The C-class mecha was going to follow up and kick Chen Mou a few more times, but after Chen Mou dodged, he stepped on empty space. Chen Mou's heart skipped a beat when he saw this move. This iron lump, is it necessary to be so cruel? Instructor Li laughed heartily. This Chen Mou is really tough, he is a promising talent. As he said, he looked at Zhang Xingten. Seeing that Chen Mou was hit hard by the mecha, he was able to stand up quickly and jump up and down. Li Xingming was more determined to let Xinghua Academy recruit people. It is necessary to offer better conditions than other schools and invite Chen Mou to apply. Zhang Xingtang laughed and said nothing. I thought to myself that Li Xingming would not attribute this to me again. Chen Mou's toughness has nothing to do with me. If you don't know, you might think I'm abusing students. While Chen Mou was injured and his body had not yet recovered, the C-class mecha seized the opportunity to practice attacking. But Chen Mou stepped on strange steps and moved swiftly, showing that he was more agile than the spirit ape. He completely resolved the mecha's attacks and even reorganized the offensive when the mecha changed its moves. In the end, Chen Mou stepped on the back of the mecha's neck again and completely cracked the pipe. The C-class mecha shook a few times, and its body stopped moving. The test is completed. The examiner was stunned when he saw this scene, and then announced the result. The surrounding recording instruments also recorded the data of the scene truthfully, uploaded it to the central analysis processor, and scored Chen Mou's performance. The surrounding audience and the online live broadcast room were already boiling. This was the first student who defeated the mecha today. Most of the students only thought about how to dodge more and block more attacks to get higher scores. As for knocking down the mecha, they didn't have this idea in their minds. When the audience saw the students' performance, they naturally thought about how many attacks the students could block during the test. No one thought that there was still a chance to knock down the mecha. The reporters' flashbulbs were shooting frantically, capturing this scene. The C-class mecha bent its knee slightly, and its body did not fall down because of the loss of power. Chen Mou stepped on the mecha, 1 foot on the back and 1 foot on the back of the neck, like a king. Chen Mou's chic performance attracted the admiration of many fans. As for the scene where he was caught by the mecha and slapped to the ground like a dead dog, it was automatically ignored and forgotten. Chen Mou jumped down, gently brushed off the dust on his body, and strode away. The king of boasting is indeed the king of boasting. He is so strong. Without strength, he is just pretending. With strength, he is awesome. But no matter whether he is pretending or awesome, he deserves the title of king of boasting. In the live broadcast room, the barrage was overwhelming, and Chen Mou's reputation as king of boasting became more and more famous. This was because Chen Mou boasted too much during the written test 2 days ago, and was given this title, and now it has continued. Otherwise, with today's performance, he might get a positive title like Little Martial God. However, Chen Mou felt that he was wronged. Can a person who tells the truth be considered pretending? He should be called an honest man. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49, each shows his magical power. Chen Kai's eyes flashed, and he felt that he had learned a lot from the battle with Chen Mou. His physique awakened, and his strength increased greatly, but he could not control it freely, and he was not sure about the mecha. Chen Mou's strength was obviously not as good as Chen Kai's, but he could use the weak to defeat the strong, and play the mecha around. This was inseparable from Chen Mou's strange steps, exquisite moves, and magical fighting skills. He just lacked these things. On the playground, there was a lot of noise and exclamations, almost overturning the entire venue. Duan Feichen was fighting with the mecha and entered a state of selflessness. Now he was also startled by the sound wave, and his mind was in a trance, and he was almost hit by the mecha. Glancing at Chen Mou, Duan Feichen entered a state of concentration again, with only the existence of the mecha in his eyes. The spear moved continuously. After a few minutes of fighting, Duan Feichen went around behind the C-class mecha, risking an iron elbow from the mecha, and stabbed the spear into the mecha's weak point. In the battle with the C-class mecha, Duan Feichen also won. There was a round of applause in the venue, but the momentum was obviously slightly smaller than when Chen Mou won. Duan Feichen was very embarrassed at the moment. During the battle, he was hit hard by the mecha many times, and his body was bruised and purple, while Chen Mou was only caught by the mecha once and fell to the ground, but he was alive and kicking in an instant. What's more, Duan Feichen took advantage of the weapon, while Chen Mou stepped on the mecha, like a god descending to the earth, with a body as tall as a mountain, and his momentum was more than 1 level higher than Duan Feichen. Duan Feichen took a deep look at Chen Mou, said nothing, and left quietly. Duan Feichen remembered today's performance in his heart and listed Chen Mou as a strong enemy. However, Duan Feichen was not afraid. Chen Mou used the magic of his body skills to avoid the attack of the C-class mecha with relatively stiff movements. But if he fought against Duan Feichen, it would be difficult for Chen Mou to avoid it with his body skills. He was much more flexible than the C-class mecha. In today's test, Chen Kai was also ranked at the front. He took a deep breath and walked up. Like Duan Feichen, Chen Kai chose the spear. In this test, the spear is the weapon that is most likely to penetrate the weakness of the C-class mecha. Other weapons like knives and swords are not so good. First, it is not long enough. After all, this mecha is also quite high. Second, it is not easy to exert force. Many students who took the test before chose spears. They also knew the weaknesses of this mecha. However, most people are not strong enough. Let alone posing a threat to the mecha, they were knocked to the ground by the mecha within a few moves and could never stand up again. There are also many students who know their own strengths and do not choose spears, but shields, in order to resist more moves. Chen Kai held the spear in his hand, shook it, and trembled like a dragon, to get familiar with the feel. The students of Yonghui High School are all versatile and can use all kinds of swords, guns, sticks and clubs. However, with so many weapons, it is impossible to be proficient in all of them. You can only choose one of them and focus on mastering it. Chen Kai was quite skilled in using the spear. Although he was not as skilled as an arm, he was still an entry-level player. When a battle started, the C-class mecha showed a strong pressure force, almost suppressing Chen Kai. Chen Kai's body skills were still a little lacking, not flexible enough, and with the spear, he struggled to resist. Occasionally, he went around behind the mecha, and before he could make a move, the mecha had already turned around and attacked, and the attack was like a tide, endless. It's so difficult, its speed is too abnormal. Chen Kai had just watched Chen Mou's battle and learned a few body skills. He felt that he had mastered them. But the result was that his brain said I had mastered them, but his body said I hadn't mastered them yet. Finally, Chen Kai had a flaw, and the mecha seized the opportunity and directly knocked him out. After standing up with difficulty, Chen Kai found sadly that an iron fist was rapidly enlarging in front of his eyes. Don't hit me in the face. Chen Kai just had this thought, and before he could open his mouth, he was hit in the face by a punch and knocked away again. Chen Kai's eyes were full of stars, and he lay on the ground like a dead dog, refusing to get up no matter what. If he got up again, he might get hit hard by a punch, so why bother? Could it be that the scoring machine would give him a few more points because he saw how badly he was beaten? Chen Kai thought about it and felt that it shouldn't be the case. Seeing that Chen Kai was lying on the ground and had no intention of getting up, the C-class mecha did not continue to chase him. The test is over. After 10 seconds, the examiner saw that Chen Kai still did not get up, so he directly announced the end. In the following process, Liang Lixun came on the stage and also held on for a long time. However, under the offensive of the mecha, it was difficult to find an opportunity to attack its weaknesses. Occasionally, there were a few opportunities, but they were easily resolved by the mecha and did not pose any threat to it at all. A student from Yonghui No. 1 Middle School came on the stage and performed amazingly. He actually held on longer than Chen Kai and Liang Lixun. But in the end, he was defeated. This man is called Chang Zimo, one of the top 10 masters of Yonghui No. 1 Middle School. His performance in the past few days was not very amazing, but he suddenly broke out today. His identity is a bit magical. Chen Kai and Chen Mou both finished the test. The two gathered together to watch the game, and Chen Kai explained it like a know-it-all. Several masters appeared in the examination room of Yonghui High School, but none of them knocked down the mecha like Chen Mou and Duan Feichen. This mecha is still too difficult for ordinary people to deal with. After all, it costs millions. The examination area of Chenbei No. 1 Middle School was also turbulent. Su Dao did not choose a spear, but chose his best weapon, the sword. The sword is the weapon of the king. Su Dao held the sword in his hand, and the killing thought came out, sweeping across the 4 directions. It was still summer, but it brought a murderous atmosphere like the autumn wind to the people around. This is because many viewers came here through virtual technology and projection. If they came in person, the feeling would be even stronger. The commander of Chenbei No. 1 Middle School was moved. This sword intent, the young are formidable. The C-class mecha engine roared, stepped on the ground, and rushed over quickly. Su Dao pointed his long sword diagonally, and the power of miracle surged, adding to the long sword, making it indestructible and adding 3 points of sharpness. The two touched, and in an instant, they exchanged more than 10 moves. Su Dao's sword light was cold, covering the whole body of the mecha, leaving a few deep and shallow scratches. At the same time, the C-class mecha's iron fists attacked frequently, hitting the long sword hard, and a spark was knocked out. The audience's heart skipped a beat, which was that this sword was blessed with the power of miracles, otherwise it would probably be bent by the mecha. Su Dao was the first person among many students who dared to challenge the mecha head-on. Even as strong as Duan Feichin, he chose guerrilla tactics. The C-class mecha never gets tired, and the energy blocks inside provide surging kinetic energy. The Iron Fist came out, breaking all methods, not afraid of the long sword, and hit Sudeo many times, making him groan a few times. Sudeo's eyes were cold. He was a little thin and frail, but his aura at the moment was as deep as the sea. Even the tall students would be frightened in front of him. He held a long sword in his hand, and his aura increased again, and he was actually in a stalemate with a mecha. Chapter 50, Top 4. Did you use secret methods to improve your combat power? The commander of Chen Mou No. 1 Middle School stared at Sudeo, puzzled by his behavior. Most students take advantage of the inflexibility of mechas to fight back. But Sudeo did the opposite, forcibly improving his combat power to fight against this mecha, which is really a thankless task. Sudeo didn't know what the commander was thinking, and he only had the mecha in front of him. It's not that he doesn't know how to fight back, but he just doesn't want to do so. Destroy the opponent with direct force, or be destroyed by the opponent. It's time to decide the winner. Just when the audience thought it would be a protracted battle, Sudeo was determined to fight quickly. After all, his strength was not as good as the mecha, not to mention that the mecha had inexhaustible energy, and it was impossible to outstrip it. The C-class mecha also seemed to sense the breath of danger in a humane way, clenched his fists, and took a martial arts fighting posture. Gusts of wind gathered behind Sudeo, and the spiritual energy around the playground surged around, forming a large funnel shape, pouring into Sudeo's body. The mecha's eyes flashed, and it quickly analyzed the data and quickly made a decision to attack. Sudeo could not be allowed to gather strength. With a click, a sound of steel hitting steel was heard. The armor on the back of the C-class mecha opened, revealing 2 propulsion devices. Flames spurted out, and the 2 propulsion devices burst into flames. The powerful reaction force pushed the mecha forward at a very fast speed. The dragon is hidden in the abyss. Sudeo waved his sword. The dragon is hidden in the abyss, and its power is not obvious. Once it rises, it will move clouds and rain, and its magical powers will be revealed. Pop! A ball of sparks burst out from the chest of the mecha, and a deep sword mark penetrated into it, destroying most of the circuit inside. At the same time, Sudeo was also thrown out by the C-class mecha's high-speed punch. Sudeo fell to the ground, his back touching the ground, facing the sky, and spitting out a few mouthfuls of blood. The examiner's eyes jumped, and he immediately announced the end of the assessment and arranged for the doctor who had been on standby here to provide emergency care. This person is really fierce. Many netizens in the live broadcast room were amazed. Sudeo was a little thin and handsome. He was unexpectedly so powerful that he directly dismantled the mecha head-on. But he also paid the price of being seriously injured for this. He was cruel to others and even more cruel to himself. So far, 3 students have defeated the mecha, which was beyond the expectations of many commanders. The 4th one was Chu Xiaoxi. Chu Xiaoxi faced the mecha, and her body was ethereal and unpredictable. The C-class mecha ran like the wind, with full power, and almost crashed without touching the corner of Chu Xiaoxi's clothes. During this process, Chu Xiaoxi continuously shot out several phantoms of red birds, which penetrated into the mecha. With a strange sound, the mecha overheated and short-circuited inside, and stopped. The assessment is over. The examiner announced with a strange look on his face. He had never seen such a strange battle, and the powerful C-class mecha was easily dealt with. The C-class mecha dared to sell for millions, so it was naturally unusual and had many protective measures. Perhaps only the miracle master could summon the power of thunder to make it short-circuit. Chu Xiaoxi is obviously just a miracle apprentice, but he can do this. The red bird must be extraordinary. But its appearance is too vague to judge carefully. The test is gradually coming to an end. Many students show their skills and make strange moves, just to knock down the mecha or hold on for a few more moves in the hands of the mecha. Now is the college entrance examination stage. It is impossible to hide your shortcomings, and you must show your best posture. Unfortunately, until the end of the test, only 4 people succeeded in defeating the mecha. Chen Mou, Duan Feichin, Sudeo, Chu Xiaoxi. These 4 are the strongest in today's test. Although they all achieved their goals, their methods were different. In addition to these 4 people, several other students also showed extremely wonderful methods and almost succeeded. Unfortunately, the mecha was still superior in the end. In today's battle, except for Chen Mou and Chu Xiaoxi, Almost everyone was injured. Duan Feichen was also hit hard by the mecha, and Su Dao was even more seriously injured. Not to mention the other students, they were all knocked to the ground by the mecha. The mecha will show mercy to those with weak strength, and the mecha will be more ruthless when it attacks those with strong strength. Everything is aimed at defeating the students. The commanders of the college entrance examinations of various schools announced that tomorrow, July 6th, they would take a day off to recover from their injuries. On July 7th, the actual combat between students will officially begin. The students looked at each other, and their eyes revealed a will to fight. Even some students with weaker strength were not afraid of fighting. If you want to become a high-level Zhuans, if you want to be a superior person, you must fight. Now it is the college entrance examination, and it is still a friendly exchange. When you go to college or even enter society, the struggles you have to experience will be more intense. If you don't dare to face the current battles, what's the point of practicing? Zhuans is not brave and aggressive, but in this world, there are so many resources, and struggle is inevitable. Fight openly and secretly. Chen Mou returned home, and after dinner, he continued to think about the magic dragon burning blood technique. Chen Mou's physique has improved again in the past 2 days. Since practicing the magic dragon body forging method, the density of his body has gradually increased and impurities have been eliminated. But now, there is still a long way to go before the whole body muscles are integrated, the heart beats strongly like a drum, and the bones are clear and pure like glass. Chen Mou tried to operate the magic dragon blood burning technique, and a force surged out from deep in his body. With the improvement of physical fitness, the feeling of internal discomfort has eased a little, and it is not particularly uncomfortable. Unfortunately, when operating, I still feel that the breath is not smooth, and the burst of qi and blood is not coherent. After Chen Mou familiarized himself with the operation of the magic dragon blood burning technique a few times, he stopped. He pursued naturalness and did not force it deliberately. Now he can force the magic dragon blood burning technique to succeed, which is a slight improvement over the previous 2 days, but it is still a little short of natural meaning. Sit down and start practicing Sea Swallow art, which is the foundation of Chen Mou. For example, Magic Dragon Body Forging Method is just a chapter of body forging in Sea Swallow art. And the Magic Dragon Blood Burning Technique is just a secret technique in Magic Dragon Body Forging Method. The spiritual energy flushed, and the muscles and bones of the whole body became active, and there was a storm of power in the feint. The power of the storm was dormant, waiting for the right moment to burst out violently, tearing everything apart, destroying everything. The seagull pattern on Chen Mou's chest gradually began to heat up, and his eyes cast a little light. On the day of the Century Super Platform landing, Chen Mou saw with his own eyes that the seagull fought the storm and swallowed lightning. But since it crashed into Chen Mou's body, it has been silent. Except for passing down the seagull secret, there is no sound. Today, the seagull finally revived again. It is lifelike on the pattern, with its wings spread out and its eyes shining, as if it wants to embrace the sky. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.